All right, so it says live, but sometimes it says live and it's actually not live. So let me verify that real quick. Yeah, see, we're not live technically. So I don't know what's going on with this. Now we're live. Now we're live. Okay, cool.
There you
All
go.
right. Well, God bless you, ladies and gentlemen, Allah worshippers and non-Allah worshippers. We're here together, Brother Cleve to Antiquity. And obviously, this is Pastor, right? He's a pastor, great pastor. He was actually teaching a wonderful lesson today in his apologetic class that he was telling me about, which I think if you're a pastor or a leader, you should be doing that because I don't want anybody going around saying that they worship the same God as the God of the Quran. I want to make that very clear. With that said, I want to just introduce Cleve to Antiquity. We've talked already online before, and we're going to be talking again on July 3rd. Shout out to my pastor right here. Pastor, you're going to have to change your name. Seems like there's a bit of a bug there or something like that. But yeah, that's the pastor there. I recognized him because of the profile picture. But
There's
but
like
yeah,
a new update where it's displaying the username rather than like
yeah.
what
Let
you
me
said.
let me see something.
That's an update. That's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
that way going forward.
yeah. See, I could see that. Yeah, multiple. You guys got to change your names, fellas. Let me see for me. Hello. Let's see. What does it say for me? JP Uncut. Okay, interesting. That's interesting. All right. Well, I guess we all got to update our names here. All right. All right. Well, with that said, brother Cleve to Antiquity, what if you give us the favor of introducing yourself? Not most people know who you are, but introduce yourself, and then we're going to get into the nice topics. Fortunately, I wasn't able to do a review with the brother because I have to hit studies, and that's going to take hours. But we put something together here just to allow individuals to join this panel and talk to us about the topic. I'm not going to hold my breath, but yeah. Go ahead, brother Cleve. Let them know who you are.
Sure. So thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. So my name is Pastor Ben. I'm an associate pastor at a non-denominational church, teach apologetics courses. We do evangelism, street evangelism, different things like that. But the thing that I've really been called to do lately is these debates, doing like Protestant apologetics, answering the claims of the East as well as the claims of Roman Catholicism. So in this last apologetics course, we were talking about Vatican II. So it's kind of interesting there. So in Nostra Aetate, it claims that they worship the same God as Islam. There's a number of issues with that. And there was a debate, 2 nights ago? Was that 2 nights ago with Jay Dyer and the Roman
Yeah, yeah,
Catholic
yeah.
scholar?
Definitely, definitely.
They made some really, really bad arguments. I'm hoping somebody joins to come up here and debate us and brings up some of those same arguments because they all have the same answer. So
Yeah,
it's very
yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
But yeah, this is typically what I do. I'll debate Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, swing by the channel. I've debated guys like Cameron Riker, Roman Catholic apologist. I had some back and forths with Sam Shamoun. I would like to debate him. Sam, if you're watching this, come debate me, man. I'd like to hop on a larger channel and do a nice formal debate with Sam or maybe somebody else on this particular topic. Because really, Vatican II is indefensible. But yeah, gotta be somebody with a platform though. If I'm swinging by a larger platform to do it, you know what I mean? Like not just some random guy works at a gas station.
Yeah, me personally, I don't believe in, and we were talking about this a little bit privately. I do not believe that Sam Shamoun will debate you, and I don't think he will debate anybody. At best, maybe a 2-on-2 if he gets to hide behind somebody else. But I
Yeah.
don't think Sam Shamoun will debate anybody ever on the topic of Catholicism unless it's a Protestant that he sees on the street of a gas station, and it's like, hey, my panel. But
Yeah.
nothing again. You guys saw what happened to the guy. The guy has, and I don't want to call people liars, man, but I had to cut loose some of my own personal friends. I've had to cut them loose, and I was telling this to Cleve because I've had several personal friends of mine that are Catholics in real life that are not being honest on this particular topic. We have individuals that are lying, individuals that are being dishonest. And when it comes to Sam Shamoun, the reading of the church fathers and things like that, either he's deceived or he's lying. And I just don't think that he'll do a moderated debate with somebody that's able to match his energy on what he does. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest though, if you wanted to do a 2-on-2, I'd be cool with that. If you wanted Albrecht or somebody else to come and debate Vatican II, all day. It's indefensible. You can't win a Vatican II debate. They tried to do that the other night with the Jay and this Trent guy, the Roman Catholic scholar. He's got like his PhD, but that guy didn't put forth any good arguments. He was just crashing out the whole time. He was like, "You got any boxing experience, Jay?" Did you see that? He challenged a guy to
Yeah,
a fight.
yeah. To me, it was a ridiculous debate
Yeah,
overall. Um, it really is. I think the premise of, you know, we have the same God of Allah in some sense. I just don't. I think that's a hard debate to actually just look at and accept it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, right? Like, how do you accept that position and then after you accept that position, defend it? You know, I think that if you debate somebody like Sam Shamoun, or you offer a debate with somebody like Sam Shamoun, and I'm not a prophet or anything like that, I what he will do is what he did with Jay Dyer. He will muddy the waters. He'll
yeah,
make everything, oh, you're a son of Satan, you're a son of the devil, you're not honest. He'll crash out, he'll do all these things and ultimately not debate. And that's what these guys do. So I don't think that a debate with Sam Shamoun and Cleave to Antiquity will happen, similar to Ferris. That'll never happen, right?
yeah,
And that's just the reality of things. But the good news is, and this is what I would say to Cleve and everybody, this is the good news. We finally have the Catholics playing defense. We have them playing defense. I honestly believe that for the first time in a very long time, now I'm 33 years old, but for the first time in a very long time, since I've been on YouTube, the Catholics are now playing defense. I think the Protestants are now on top. And I was being very honest about a year and a half ago. You guys as my witnesses, all of you guys as my witnesses. I told you guys Protestants were losing the fight. I said this. I've said this very clear. If any of you guys are my supporters, I don't like calling anybody fans. You guys would remember when me as a Protestant, I said Catholics are winning the fight. Protestants are not putting up a good war. Protestants are losing. All of these things, I've said it multiple times. Well, now I'm here to say that I believe Protestants are not winning the fight. And I'm a non-denominational evangelical, just not to split hairs there, because I know somebody will be like, JP, you're not really a Protestant. But just for the sake of argument, let's just say I am, just to make it very simple. So, yes, I agree with this. We rise now. And I think that we have to continue to get very aggressive with these guys. Shout out to Cleave to Antiquity for doing what he does, putting the pressure. And we need more of us. We need more of us. Shout out to Christian King. Shout out to Kelly Powers. Look who's here. We were actually talking about Kelly Powers. I actually said, and Cleave of Antiquity is here. Cleve said, "What kind of Protestants do you think punch have a good punch? Very assertive, very good." I said Kelly Powers is a very aggressive Protestant debater, but there's not much. But there's a rise. I think that Christian King, shout out to his humble servant Kelly Powers, yourself. I think that there's a lot of people rising and putting up the
yeah.
pressure. Yeah.
Let me say something real quick. Any Roman Catholic out there that has a platform that is bigger than my own, let's set up a 2-on-2 debate. I'll find somebody to be my debate partner. But let's go ahead. Let's discuss Vatican II. This is indefensible. To say that you worship the same God as Muslims is indefensible. They reject the Trinity. They reject Jesus Christ, who is God. Therefore, you're not worshiping the same God. All of these examples that are put forth, there was a horrible argument on that Jay Dyer debate in which they were making this kind of Superman analogy. And they said, okay, well, what about when Superman's wearing the Clark Kent glasses? And what about when he's dressed up like Superman, but Lois doesn't know any better? And she's saying, oh, well, she's still talking about the same guy. Well, you're talking about somebody speaking from a state of ignorance. All right. If Superman were to take off the glasses and put on the super suit and walk in front of Lois, and she says, oh, no, that's actually not the Superman I'm thinking about. It's a different guy. Okay. Then they're not talking about the same person. This is the same exact situation we're talking about with Muslims. The supersuit is on. They see who God is, right? Jesus Christ. That is God. They deny him willfully. It's not the same situation. You're conflating ignorance with willful rejection. When somebody willfully rejects Christ, when somebody willfully rejects the Trinity, they are not worshiping the same God as me. You might be able to make an argument for somebody in ignorance. Maybe they never heard the gospel. Maybe they never heard of Jesus. Maybe they never heard of the Trinity. Maybe they're on some kind of island somewhere. I'm not talking about their salvation, but I'm talking about they could be, maybe if they're seeking God, like, is there a creator or whatever, maybe they're worshiping the same God, right? But if it's somebody who is willfully rejecting the Trinity and somebody's willfully rejecting Christ, like Muslims do ecclesiastically, meaning that they have an actual decree that states Jesus is not God. We reject this. That's what it's founded upon. It's founded upon the rejection of the Trinity. So it's a willful rejection. They're not worshiping the same God. It's an absurd
Let me
statement.
show you. Let me show you something. And one of my YouTube commentators actually put this up to me. This is how you destroy this particular argument, because the Superman premise is wrong. You see, the true God is Superman. Now, let me be very clear in context, okay? So we don't get to say that Muslims are seeing Superman in a different light, when in reality, what we're dealing with is not Superman in a different costume, but we're dealing with Bizarro. You see, Allah is Bizarro, and this is God right here. This is the God we serve. This is the God they serve. So it doesn't matter what Superman wears, Clark Kent, whatever the case, it doesn't matter. This Superman here will never be Allah, regardless of how they view this Superman. You could view this Superman as super, whatever the case may be. You can view him as anything. You can even say this is Batman. But guess what? It's still Superman. Whereas with this right here, this is Allah. So it's not a matter of how Superman is viewed. It's a matter of, you actually don't have Superman as your God. You actually have Bizarro as your God. So the premise is wrong. Now, let me be very clear. I don't believe Superman is God, but just making that very clear. Allah is Bizarro, not the real God viewed in another way.
Yeah, the whole you could call him the wrong name thing, though. One piece that I would add to that is that once it's revealed who he actually is, if you willfully reject that, you're willfully rejecting the same God. So even if somebody is mistaken about his identity, right? So say they have a mistaken view of Jesus, but then it's revealed to them, like a Muslim, right, that he actually is God. Okay, so they come across the Christian gospel. They reject that. They're not worshiping the same God as us anymore, at all. You can take somebody maybe from a state of complete ignorance and make an argument that maybe they have the same referent, but the moment that they willfully reject, the moment that they come into the actual knowledge of who this is and they reject that, then they're not talking about the same person. It's a ridiculous premise.
Amen. I wanted to read this passage, and there's a couple of passages we can go through now. Catholics, I know that this was a bit of a short notice. I know you guys are watching. Feel free to join up. We'd love to talk to you. But this is a very interesting biblical passage. Shout out to Albi for bringing it up the other day. But this is a very interesting passage because it destroys the narrative that Allah is actually the same God. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 5 and 6. For although there may be so-called gods in heaven or on earth, as indeed there are many gods and many lords. So now let's be very clear here. There are many gods and many lords, right? There are many false gods, okay? But the Bible makes it clear who the true God is. Yet for us, now notice the key word here. This is very important. For us. Now notice what it says. And we got to make this very clear. Shout out to Albi. For us. Now, why is the for us very important? Because the one God is for us, those who believe in that God. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Somebody's born in a forest somewhere and they look at a tree and go, there must be a God somewhere. We're not talking about that. So it says here, for us, there is one God, the Father, from whom all things, are all things and for whom we exist, and one Lord Jesus Christ, through whom are all things and through whom we exist. Now, a lot of Catholics will tell you, because there were a couple of Catholics that told me this, very interesting. There was a Catholic Cleve who told me, you don't mind if I call you Cleve, right? It's a bad habit of mine. I'm pretty sure a lot of people call you Cleve now, right?
That's fine, man. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's once the username, it's over, man. But yeah, it's very interesting with this passage because I was debating a Catholic and Sam Shamoun made a live stream. He was calling me all kind of mothers, your whore, and all these things, son of Satan's. He was calling on me all of these things. This was probably yesterday or 2 days ago. And on his live stream, he said that the reason we know, because I made an argument, I said, what if I said the devil is the sustainer of the universe and the God of the world? I said that. What if I believe Satan is the Most High God? To which he responded and said, very good argument he made. He goes, we know Satan is not the sustainer of the universe and the God of the world because the Bible tells us he's not. Well, very beautiful. Sam, the Bible also tells me who my God is and who my God is not. So by your own rationale using the Bible, Allah is not the same God because the Bible makes the distinctions from any God who's not the Father and any person who doesn't see our Lord Jesus Christ as God as well.
Yeah.
So Allah will fall under the many gods and the many lords that are not the true God. Go ahead, Brother Cleve.
So, one interesting thing about this passage that you brought up here. So in verse 5, you see that lowercase g for gods. And then verse 6, you see the uppercase G. So if you were to actually read Vatican II, you know what they use the uppercase G for? The God of Hinduism. Can you believe that? They use the uppercase G for the God of Hinduism, saying they worship him, and which doesn't even make sense because most Hindus have multiple gods. So how are you going to have one true God in Hinduism? It makes no sense. It just goes to show that the ecumenical councils of the Roman Catholics are fallible. They've made mistakes. They've made many mistakes. And that Satan example that you brought up earlier, guess what? The Roman Catholic scholars in the debate 2 nights ago were literally saying it's possible for you to worship a demon and God at the same time. That's what one of their first arguments was. This is absolutely absurd. They said you can worship a literal demon and also still be in some sense talking about God. I hate to break it to you, man. You either are worshiping God or you're not. It's not like you're worshiping, oh, I'm worshiping his foot. Like I'm worshiping like a part of him. I'm worshiping like, oh no, just his upper half I'm worshiping. No, dude. You're either worshiping God or you're not. It's ridiculous. This is what Roman Catholics have to do to defend this absurd doctrine. And if this was not in Vatican II, they would abandon the teaching altogether. This is ridiculous. I challenge any Roman Catholic with any kind of following. If you have more subscribers than me, debate me on this topic. I will tear you to shreds. This is impossible to defend. Literally impossible. You have to do what this guy Trent did the 2 nights ago and just yap over the opposition and not make any decent arguments. He was just screaming over the guy. And then eventually he was like, you got any boxing experience? I'll fly you out to Texas.
Yeah,
absurd.
These guys are it's bad, bro. Now, I want to address this real quick because I'm willing to take this particular debate. If there's any Catholic in the universe, and I know a bunch of Catholics now, I've cut off some Catholics. I was telling you personally, Cleve, that I've lost some Catholic friendships. I've deleted group chats. I've left. There are multiple Catholics that I'm not talking to anymore because of their dishonesty. I can't be friends with dishonest people. You can call me out on my dishonesty if I'm dishonest. But if I'm calling somebody out for their dishonesty, and one of the more interesting things here is Acts 17 in the 20s. Now, when we get to Acts 17, Catholics will lie. And I really believe that they're lying. I mean, where are you getting from this text that Paul is saying it's the same God, first and foremost? Secondly, it doesn't work for the Quran because the particular God that Paul is addressing is an unknown God. Allah is an identified God, therefore not unknown, who Muhammad had private revelation for. So that doesn't work either in this particular context. But what Catholics are saying with Acts 17 now, and we cannot allow them to get Acts 17, is that Paul is stating that the unknown God is the same God that the same God that the unknown God was. Well, let's read this in context, okay? And let's see if that's the case.
JP,
And
you
we're
care
gonna
if I
break
chime
this.
in right quick, like really,
Oh,
really
you
quick?
definitely go ahead.
All right, sorry, man. But hey, so with this, all of the Roman Catholic arguments are arguments from ignorance. These individuals, they're saying, we don't know if there's another God out there. This is an ignorant argument, right? So they're saying they're arguing from their ignorance to say maybe they're seeking Christ in the same way that like an atheist who's like, God, are you out there? Right? Is seeking Christ. So this would be an argument from ignorance. Notice this with every single Roman Catholic argument. It's never an argument for willful rejection. They'll make the same point with the Old Testament Jews. It's an argument because they don't have all of the facts. They don't have the Trinity explicitly revealed to them, but they worship the Trinity in type. This is what Augustine says. This is what several other church fathers say. They say Abraham worshiped the Trinity in type, but this is just an argument from the perspective of people who are maybe slightly ignorant as to who God is. But guess what happens when God is actually revealed to them, when Christ is revealed to them? They come to the truth. That's exactly what we see happen. So, sorry, I just wanted to make that clear because every single argument from the Roman Catholic side has been, oh, what if they just didn't know? What if they just didn't know? Muslims know, and they willfully reject it.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. And not only that, but Allah is an identified God, and they reject the revelation of Jesus Christ. But let's read this because although these individuals were ignorant, does Paul actually say that their God was the same God that Paul has? That's the claim. Ignorance or whatever. Let's read this and see if that's what Paul says. Let's read this real quickly. And then we have another passage I want to go over the Catholics use, but we'll continue to go there. So Paul, I think we got a Catholic in here. Well, Prophet Daniel. I didn't know any Catholics. How's it going, Daniel? Are you a Catholic?
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Hey, are you a Catholic?
Are you Roman Catholic, Daniel?
Just a second, please. Yeah, sorry. I'm a Muslim.
What are you doing here?
Because I heard you guys talking about how the Muslim God is not the same as the Christian God or something like that.
Yeah, do you believe
Do
it?
you even welcome Muslims in, or is it just between Christians?
I mean, I guess we can address this from the other side. What do you think, Cleve? I mean, we talked to the Catholics.
Yeah, I don't care. We can talk to them. Hey, thanks for coming up, Daniel. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Well, Daniel, let me ask you this: you believe that your God is the same God as the Christian God?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. Very good. I guess we can have a good conversation. There seems to be a delay, so I'm gonna say a number. Tell me when you hear that number. 1.
Okay. Can you do that again, please?
1.
1.
5.
5.
Oh, okay, good. Then you fixed your mic. All right, very good. All right, so Cleve, you want to take this one or you want me to cook? It's up to you, brother. You're my guest.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. Here, let me just ask you a question. So you say that Muslims have the same God as Christians, right? Well, you realize that Jesus Christ is my God, right?
That's how you might. That's how some groups of Christians may think.
Well, anybody who's actually a Christian accepts the Trinity, accepts Jesus Christ as God. If you reject those things, you're not a Christian. You're not worshiping the same God as me.
Well, that was not the case in the first century, though.
Yeah, that was the case in the first century. If you were to read literally any of the church fathers, every single one of them just about refers to Jesus Christ as God. It says it several times.
Have you heard of the Nazarene movement and the Ebionites?
Yeah, that's a nonsense argument. Look, this is the thing. I'm a Christian. You're addressing me right now. Jesus Christ is my God. The Trinity is my God. You're rejecting Jesus Christ. You're rejecting the Trinity. You don't worship the same God as me. Let me ask you a question. Let's say me and you, Daniel, we get into a time machine right now. We go back to the time of the crucifixion, and I point up at the man on the cross, Jesus, and I were to ask him, is that your God? What would you say to me?
I would say no.
Well, there you go. Then you don't have the same God as me. Simple as that.
The point being, you're ignoring the entire historical
Well, brother, I
development.
really believe the conversation is over. You just proved that it's not the same God. Now, anything beyond that, I mean, go ahead if you want to bring something else up, but that's it. You just made it very clear that Jesus Christ is not your God, but Jesus Christ is Khalif's God and my God. Therefore, it is not the same God.
Right.
Well,
I think the argument that he's trying to have is he's trying to change it into an argument about whether or not Jesus is God, but that just proves my point, Daniel. If you don't have Jesus Christ as your God, you don't worship the same God as me.
okay, I get the point from you, but people can actually go wrong in the faith. People worship saints sometimes. People also worship Mary sometimes.
Interesting.
All of that happens.
Which one of us two worships Mary and prays to saints?
No, you might not,
We
but there
don't,
are.
but even if I'm going to steel man their position, they don't believe the saints and Mary is God, so that wouldn't work either.
Are you aware of Christians who don't believe in Jesus to be God?
If they
They're not
don't believe
Christians.
this is God, they're not Christian, and that's another God.
Okay, that's how you would go on to opinion about it, but you might have to prove from the scriptures that Jesus was indeed God to start off, to have your
Well,
premise validated.
Well, this is the thing. To validate my premise, premise 1, Jesus Christ is my God. Premise 2, if you don't believe Jesus Christ is God, then guess what? The conclusion, you don't worship the same God as me. So the debate's basically over at that point. We can have a whole separate debate at a different time about whether or not Jesus is God. But if you disagree with one of the with whether or not Jesus Christ is God, then you just don't worship the same God as me. As simple as that. The conversation really doesn't need to be that much deeper than that, because
Got your point.
then it would just be it would be a completely different premise.
I absolutely got your point. If you want to insist that Jesus was God, then I would say definitely no, and the debate would be over, right? So there is a disagreement.
Well, thank you for your honesty, Daniel. We don't have the same God, and you're more. And listen, Daniel, I got to be honest with you. You're more honest than most Catholics. I got to be honest. You're
Okay,
so
thank you.
I got to give you credit where credit is due. Now, if you'd like to have a conversation on whether Jesus is God or not, Cleve, do you have those? Do you cover those topics on your channel as well?
Yeah, I've done a couple of videos on that. If you go down, select the playlist, and go to Islam, was Jesus God? I have a whole video on that you can check out.
Yeah, and from time to time, I do open panels on the topic. So, Daniel, if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. Keep an eye out. I will do a panel on this Jesus God, and I think that would be very good.
Yeah, okay. I did subscribe to you yesterday, and that's when I came to know about your live stream now.
All right, perfect. All right, so keep an eye out for that. We're going to continue the show, brother, and I would like to talk to you about that topic because it's very important. So, how about you send me an email so we can set something up regarding is Jesus God? All right.
Yeah, okay. I got your email, and
Yeah,
Prophet Daniel Has Spoken is my channel. If you want to have a idea of what I do, feel free to go and have a look around some of the videos to grab an idea of what I do.
All that information to my email, all right?
Yeah, okay. All right. Have a good day.
All right. Well, thank you, Daniel, for coming on. Well, that was an honest Muslim. It took less. I mean, he was honest because he saw the logical conclusion of the conversation. Now, Catholics can't see the logical conclusion, but it literally took us 2 to 3 minutes to walk this brother down to why it's not the same God. And he said, you know what?
Yep.
You're right. It's not the same God.
Yep.
So he was being honest.
And yeah, I mean, that's a conversation that we can have at a different time, but that would just derail the entire thing. That's always the discussion with Muslims. I mean, that's the big sticking point. That's why we have such a big disagreement with Roman Catholics as to whether or not Muslims worship the same God as us. It's as simple as me saying, do you worship Jesus? No, they don't. You see him, he willfully rejects Jesus Christ. I'm telling him Jesus Christ is God. He's saying, no, he's not. And then he's challenging me, go ahead and prove to me that Jesus is God. Okay.
Yep. It's almost like if I were to say, Clifford the Big Red Dog is my God. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're going to say, no, that's not my God. Therefore, it's a different God. It's very simple. You know, it's very simple. But it is a shame that a Muslim is more honest than my own personal Catholic friends. It really is a shame. It really is. I've lost friendships over this because people refuse to be honest with this. And I get it, right? If this is wrong, if Allah is not the same God, Catholicism is false. So you have to say, this is the Catholic
Yeah.
dilemma. If Allah is the same God, Catholicism is false. If Allah is not the same God, Catholicism is still false because Vatican II says it's the same God. So
Yeah.
either way you slice it, Catholicism is false.
For anyone that is curious as to the answer of is Jesus God, and proven from history, early church history, literally within the 1st century, 2nd century, extremely early on, we have several citations by church fathers that say very explicitly that Jesus was God, or is God rather. This is the consensus of the church fathers. This is the consensus. You might be able to point to Arians, the heretics, the innovators, and if you want to side with an Arian, be my guest, but that just makes you a heretic. If you were to look at what the early church actually wrote, Polycarp he was in the 1st century. He literally says, this is a citation from Polycarp, who will yet believe in our Lord and God, Jesus Christ? No mystery about what he thought about this. That's a 1st century church father. Ignatius said the same thing. By the will of the Father and of Jesus Christ, our God. You get the point? Every single
Yes, sir.
church father, 1st, 2nd, 3rd century, so on and so forth, as early back as you want to go, every single one of them. Jesus is God. Jesus is God. Jesus is God.
Yeah, so the church fathers are correct in the Trinity, but not the Eucharist and baptism. Well, first off, I believe in these particular doctrines, but I don't want to go there and derail the conversation. So I actually believe in some of these doctrines, Otis. So please, let's not be uncharitable here, right? Okay. Um, let's go back here for a sec. And if we have, so I do see some Catholics in the section. So here we have Catholic agreeing, then we have another Catholic saying for real. So the Catholics are here, and the reason I know they're here, Cleve, this is how I know they're here. This is how I always give them away. So look, check this out. I have 65 likes on this video, which means half of the people watching, we have 120 plus, are Protestants. Half. The other half are non-Protestants watching this video who have not liked the stream. So they're watching. Half the audience is watching. So this is what we're going to do, Catholics. I want you guys to stop hiding in the shadows. I know Cleve is here. I'm here. Stop hiding in the shadows because there's over 50 to 60 of you guys watching. And feel free to join the live stream. It's pinned. And let's have a conversation. You have the same God. You have the same God as pagans, which I think Muslims are, quite frankly. You have the same God. And we're here to dismantle all of your arguments because all of your biblical passages we're going to destroy. Okay? We're going to go to Acts 17. We're going to go to Romans chapter 10. And there's a couple of other passages. No need to hide behind your Roman walls. We are here, and I will not curse out your mother. I will not. Okay?
That's a good point.
Yep. Now, JP is scared that Muhammad is his prophet. Well, JP is not scared because Muhammad is not my prophet. The Bible's very clear what a true prophet is. Not to be fair, Catholics don't believe Muhammad is a true prophet, but they should because Muhammad was the one that gave the true revelation of Allah. So you should. So there you have it. All right. Rome 33 AD. If you're upset that I kicked you off at some point, I'll give you my word. I'll give you 10 guaranteed minutes, 10 guaranteed. You can talk to Cleve, and I will not kick you out. Okay, Rome? So you could talk to Cleve. Obviously, you don't agree with my views, or I kicked you out or something like that. I don't know what happened. Maybe you were long-winded. I will allow you to talk to Cleve. I will not kick you out. We will not have an engagement unless you mention my name. If you mention my name, then it's game over. But if you want to come up, talk to Cleve. Cleve is here. He's the guest. I will not kick you out. Hold me to it. I will not kick you out for 10 guaranteed minutes. After that, we might have to move on with the show. Okay. But you have 10 minutes guaranteed. 10 guaranteed. All right. Now let's go on with the show. Let's go on with the show real quick because I want to address a couple of passages. So Catholics say that in this passage, Paul said that the unknown God was the true God, but that's not true because Paul says, well, therefore you worship as unknown. Now, let's be very clear here. This wouldn't apply to Allah. It wouldn't apply to Allah because Allah is a known God. If you go here, Paul actually walked past other false gods. So Paul would have walked away from the same false God that Muslims believe in, the same way that he did. Now, who was this unknown God that these individuals were worshiping? Well, if we look all the way down here, they were worshiping this God with gold and stones and silver. So this is how they were worshiping this God, via their imagination with gold, silver, and stone. Okay? And at that point in time, God did overlook, but God doesn't overlook this atrocity anymore. Nevertheless, it is still not the same God because the passage says this. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, the objects, God is not an object, I found also an altar with an inscription to the unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in temples made by man. So this God lived in a temple made by man. But the true God does not live in the temples made by man. Paul is correcting him. Nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and boundaries to the dwelling place, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way towards him and find them. Yet he is actually not far from each one of us. As Cleve mentioned earlier, they ended up believing in the true God, but Paul doesn't actually say that their unknown God was the same God. Paul never makes that claim. Okay, so there you have it. Now, I don't know why there's so many Muslims here. Is Paul a prophet? Brother, this is not a Muslim stream. But if you want to come up, you can come up. We could talk about if we have the same God. I think your God is a pagan. Okay. Now let's go to Romans 10 real quick. This is another argument they make. Okay. Romans 10. Anything you want to say on Acts 17, brother? Or is that it?
No, I think we pretty much said all that there is to say. The moral of the story is this: if you're rejecting Christ willfully, if you're rejecting the Trinity willfully, you don't have the same God. Period. Point blank. There's no way to get around that. All of these bad analogies by the Roman Catholics have to do with ignorance. None of them have to do with willful rejection. So, we got somebody on the stream. What's going on, man?
Yeah, so Matagi, are you a Muslim?
Yes.
Okay. So you're a Muslim. You're the second Muslim here today. All right. So I never truly get that many Muslims, but I'm assuming Muslims are having a field day with this because Catholics have critiqued their religion so hard, said that their God is Satan, only for them to turn around, have an about face, and say that they actually have the same God. So I'm assuming this is a celebratory event for Catholics. But Matagi, since we're not Catholics, we will not give you that same kind of response. So my question to you, Matagi, is: do you believe that your God is the same God of the Christians?
Yes.
Okay. Cleve, you want to run them through an analogy?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a Cleve to Antiquity clips, but these are good.
I'm not going to bring up scripture like some of your previous
Well,
guests.
you said it is the same God. Let Cleve run you through a series of questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just as simple as this, man. Jesus Christ is my God. Do you believe Jesus Christ is God?
No.
Then you don't worship the same God as me. It's that simple, man.
Do you want to end it there, or we can continue?
I mean, that's pretty much
It's
it.
up to you.
I guess I could ask
No,
you.
I'm
I
just
could
asking
ask
you
you
a
this.
simple question. It's not like
I mean,
it's not like I'm
I'm
trying
just
to
being
be
curious. I don't know
hard or
where
anything.
I don't know where the debate is. You just basically acknowledge you don't have the same God as me, man. Because
No,
you say Jesus.
no. I'm saying there's one God. I'm a Muslim, right? Like you said, and I believe in one God. And
Yeah, but
in
Jesus,
Surah 114.
Jesus is my
in the
God,
Quran-
though. Jesus is my God. Do you have the same God as me?
No, Jesus is a Messiah, prophet.
No.
But he's
But he's my God. Do you have the same
he's
God
your
as
God.
me?
Okay.
Yeah,
He's your
yeah.
God.
Jesus is
Yeah.
my God. So do you have the same God as me then?
No.
There you go.
Oh, well, thank you for your honesty. Matagi, would you like my email if you want to have a Is Jesus God discussion?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so let me send you
I
my
don't mind.
email. Send me an email because you're the second Muslim to come in today. And you, let me be honest, you guys are being more honest than any Catholic I've met. Now, this is my email right here, justpraynyc@gmail.com. Send me an email. I would love to have a discussion on whether Jesus is God, because
Sure.
this discussion isn't on whether Jesus is God. It's whether, let me make it very simple. This cell phone is my God. Do you believe this cell phone's your God, my brother?
No.
All right, we go, and we have a different God. You see, so there you have it. Now it's not really, but you get it. But send me an email. We'll have a conversation on if Jesus is God. Would you like
Okay.
that?
Yeah,
All right.
that's fine.
That's my email, justpraynyc@gmail.com. Send me
I'll
an
send-
email. We'll set that up. All right.
Sure.
All
That's
right, man.
fine.
Have a nice day. All right.
For
It's in
everyone in
private.
the audience, the cell phone is not JP's God.
No, it's not. All right. Fellas, I don't know what's going on, man. I hate to say it, but are Muslims more honest than Catholics in some capacities? I don't know what's going on. It seems like the Catholics are saying we have the same God as the Muslims. The Muslims are saying no, we don't. You know, no, we don't. You know, this is hilarious. This really
Yeah,
is.
it's super simple when you bring them up here and you just walk through literally two questions. They'll acknowledge the truth to you. Actually, no, now that I think about it, we don't have the same God.
Yeah,
It's just as simple as that. I mean, if the conversation with Roman Catholics was that simple, we wouldn't have any debates on this topic at all. But any Roman Catholic that wants to come up and debate, come on. We're not that mean. I'm a nice fella. There you go. What's going on, man?
What's up, you guys?
Wait, but
How's
before
it
we
going?
get started, are you a Catholic?
I'm a Catholic. I'm not a scholar. You know, I'm just a lay person.
Brother, I don't like when people say I'm not a scholar because I'm not a scholar.
I'm not a teacher. I'm not a scholar.
I'm
I have
not a teacher
apologetic. Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
just three
I'm Catholic.
fellas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I grew
brother,
up
I'm
Catholic.
just a guy that goes on the internet and has conversations with people. That's it. I'm not a genius or anything. But Cleve is my my guest here today, so he'll love to talk to you.
What's up,
Yeah, what's
Cleve?
going
What's
on,
up,
man?
JP? But you were blowing some big clouds of smoke there, saying that no Catholics will come up. So I just wanted to come up here and.
Well, because we have two Muslims in a row that were being very honest, and they followed the logical conclusion. So I was just saying, hey, what's going on with the Catholics? But you're here, so I stand corrected.
Right.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
I applaud you for coming up.
Yeah, thank you, man. I want to talk with you, brother Cleve, but there were some things that JP said that I would like to address after we kind of like go at this for.
All right. So how about this? Address what you want to address with me, then I'll allow you to go with Cleve. I said a lot of things. So what is something that you want to address? Go ahead.
So it would be cool if we can go over the Acts 17.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. We could go over Acts 17. Absolutely. Okay.
It seems like there was a little bit of confusion with the translation of agnosto theo.
Oh, okay. So would you like me to use another translation? What would you like me to do? Just keep this one up? It's up to you.
Now, if we can like dive into what the Greek of agnosto theo is, then we can clear up what we're
Are
working
you
with.
saying the English is different than the Greek, is what you're saying?
I would say so up until this
Okay.
point on your
Is there a
stream.
particular English translation that you feel closest is aligned with the Greek?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. So I'm supposed to trust you over the people that translated the Greek. Now, I'm being charitable and saying if there is an English translation that closest reflects the Greek that you're talking about, I am willing to open that up. But if you don't know, I'll have to believe that you're a better translator than the scholars that actually translated it to English, which you said you're not a scholar.
Yeah, I don't have a computer in front of me, and that's why I was saying that I want to root out what the actual meaning of the
So
Greek
what's
is.
the particular word, brother? What's
But
the particular word?
it's agnostotheo. From my
What
research, it
verse? From what
means
verse, brother? From what verse?
agnosto means to not know or not to
Okay,
know.
so from the verse 23 then, right, brother?
Yeah, when
So
it
this is what
says
I'll do for you. This is what I'll do
go
for
to
you.
the interlinear from verse 23.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to do for you, brother. I'm going to do one better for you. Okay. So this is every biblical translation. Okay. This
No,
is
I'm not
every.
about to sort through these. Just go to the interlinear for the Greek.
Okay. Interlinear for the Greek. Okay. Give me 1 second.
I was just on
Interlinear.
that one. I was just
All
on
right.
the interlinear.
So we're in Acts 17, verse 23. Now it says, passing through for and beholding the objects of worship of you, I found even an altar on which has been inscribed to an unknown, agnosto, to an unknown God, whom therefore not knowing you worship him, I proclaim him. So the word here in Greek is
Yeah,
agnosto.
stay here though. Stay on this screen though.
Yeah, we're here. I'm not going nowhere.
All right, cool. So it means to an unknown God.
Yeah, that's
Quite literally. So what did your translation say, real
the
quick?
same thing, brother.
Oh, did it say the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what were they doing with that pillar? Were they worshiping the pillar itself, or were they having a desire for a deity which they did not know?
They were worshiping a deity they did not know. So whatever their motives is, I don't know what their motives is. The text doesn't say. But what I think Paul makes very clear is that their God was not the same God. So whatever they were worshiping, they got corrected.
They got corrected by St. Paul. So
Yes.
was St. Paul coming to that town an answer from the unknown God to their prayers for their seeking him?
Rephrase that question, brother. I just don't understand what you're asking.
Was St. Paul's visit, St. Paul, right? He's the mouthpiece for Christ. He's speaking the words of Christ to them. Was his visiting that town, was that an answer to their prayers to the unknown God? They were seeking him and he answered
Well,
him.
the thing
He
is
answered
that
them.
the thing is that that's a
And
very.
JP, real quick,
Well,
I know it's real quick,
you
bro,
asked
because
me a question.
I
Okay.
did, but I had to kind of like balance this question with another thought. I do apologize. I
Okay, go
really
ahead.
appreciate your charity and everything.
Okay, go ahead.
This is like going back to the idea that even the philosophers had this idea of logos, and they were seeking God in the shadows of their idolatry. And this is sort of what Vatican II is talking about. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say this, and Cleve wants to say something. So I wouldn't say that Paul showed up because they were praying to an unknown God and that was the answer to their prayers, because Paul went there in a general sense. Paul would preach the gospel there all the time. So I would say that Paul just happened to see this and therefore he told them, because Paul was preaching the gospel to everybody and he just happened to bump into these individuals here. Could God have shown grace to some capacity and saw these guys and said, hey, let me correct them? Yeah. But the text doesn't give us that information. All the text tells us is that they were worshiping an unknown God. Paul corrects them and tells them who the true God is and who the false God is and who the false God is not. Or I would say who the true God is and who the true God is not. And in Acts 17:18, and we'll allow Brother Cleve to cook, says here that some of the and see, this is where it gets tough because some of these biblical words, but some of the Epicureans and Stoic philosophers also conversed with him. And some said, what does this babbler wish to say? Others says he seems to be a preacher of foreign divinities because he was preaching Jesus and the resurrection. So it appears he went to this particular place and then he just happened to stumble upon them. That's what I would guess, but the text doesn't say that. So
Yeah,
But
but
let's say
divine providence thought through. God knows everything, so obviously
yeah, but
God sent.
I believe God is
Right, so God
sovereign.
knew that those people were praying to the unknown
Yeah, I
God, and
believe
He
God
sent
is
Saint
sovereign
Paul
and
there
He
as an
knows.
answer to their
Yeah,
prayers. Clearly,
I believe God is sovereign and He knows all things. And perhaps Paul went there to preach the gospel and correct them. Now go ahead, Cleve, because Cleve wanted to say something. Go ahead.
it was just a coincidence
Yeah.
that they were
So
praying to God and they were
Not a
asking
so hey,
God,
coincidence.
and that He
last
revealed Himself to them after they asked
last
for Him to reveal
hey,
Himself.
all right, hey, so I already kind of addressed this kind of rebuttal earlier in the stream. I don't know if you saw this, but there's a difference between willful rejection and ignorance. So even if I were to grant, which in this case I would just grant, okay, sure. I mean, in their ignorance, they're seeking God the same way that an atheist would seek God. Like if they're saying, God, are you out there? Right. I mean, obviously, I think in that instance, since they are ignorant, I would say that their prayers are probably going towards God Himself. But where I would disagree is that this supports Vatican II in any way, because Muslims willfully reject Christ. They willfully reject who God is. They willfully reject the Trinity. There's a difference between ignorance and willful rejection. So that's kind of the answer to anybody trying to use this to support Nostra Aetate in any sense. Nostra Aetate is nonsense. You can't willfully reject the Trinity, willfully reject Jesus, and say that you're worshiping the same God.
I hear you, and there's a problem here, which is that um when you say Muslims, you're sort of grouping together individuals, which we need to clarify which categories individuals
Well,
fall into.
that's what Nostra Aetate does, though. It says the Muslims, right? It doesn't say Muhammad whatever in Pakistan. It says the Muslims as a group.
Right, and I would like to go into Nostra Aetate, but I don't want to lose this quick thought that I had
Go
from
ahead.
the first statement that you made about just Muslims in general. Um, which was, so you agreed that if somebody is calling out to God, that He may, in their ignorance, answer them.
If they're ignorant, but Muslims have an ecclesiastical rejection of who
Right. So
God is.
so my question was, thank you, because that kind of reminded me. I almost lost my thought there. So my question was, is the gospel presented, the true gospel message presented in the Quran?
In the Quran? No,
Yeah.
they have a willful rejection of Jesus Christ.
No. Is the true gospel of Christ and His message?
It's a false religion. So are
Hold
you
on,
just
hold
going to
on,
say
hold on,
all
hold on.
false religions?
No,
All
I'm
false
sorry.
religions get a pass?
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. It's just a very straightforward question. Is the true gospel revealed in the Quran?
It's a false religion.
Bro,
No.
it's so
If
simple. So no. So the answer is no,
look,
right?
look, this is the thing. If you want to try to make that argument, you would have to say Hindus
No,
worship the same God.
no,
Buddhists have the same God. Satanists have the same God.
please don't look forward onto the argument which you think I'm trying to make. That's not fair. Just please answer my question straightforward. Is the gospel found in the Quran? Yes or no?
No, they have a willful ecclesiastical
Hold on,
rejection of who Jesus Christ is in the
bro.
Quran.
I heard you, and that's your opinion. Okay.
That's my
A
opinion. So
willful
no.
ecclesiastical
You're
rejection,
saying that's my opinion. Do they not have a willful ecclesiastical rejection of who Christ is in the Quran?
I would say it depends on who you are. Because
depends on
Vatican
who you are. The
II,
Quran is a book.
the Quran is a book which we just agreed does not have the gospel
Quran say
message.
Jesus Christ is God?
Okay, look, I'm not going to continue, JP, with somebody who's not going to answer my question straightforward, and then try to ask
Well,
me 10 other
you
questions
asked him if
surrounding
the
it, bro.
gospel, brother. Look, you asked him if the gospel is in the Quran. He said no, and
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't just say no. He said no, and then he went off into this.
The Quran.
He went off. Bro, you keep on. What you're doing is you're not answering my question straightforward, and then you're saying a statement which pertains to Vatican II, which is not what I'm asking right now.
Last Supper. You asked.
I'm asking you a straightforward question, dude.
Yes, you asked. This is the question. As maybe I'm hearing things. You asked him clearly: is the gospel in the Quran? Cleave to Antiquity said no, and then told you why. You didn't hear him say no. He said no.
He didn't tell me why. That's not the reason why.
Go ahead with your argument, man.
Okay. You're making me forget my argument from how many times I have to repeat the question. So, Lord have mercy. So, the gospel is not in the Quran, right?
No, they have a false religion.
So they're ignorant about the true Jesus?
No, they have an ecclesiastical sanction that says Jesus is not God within the Quran.
So if I only have the Quran, do I know the true Jesus?
Do you think the Quran doesn't say the Christians, the people of the book, worship Jesus as a God? As God?
No, the Quran does not teach how Christians worship Jesus.
So you don't think that's mentioned in
Absolutely
any of
not.
the hadiths or any
Not
of their
even a
holy
little
texts?
bit. It's not even a little bit
Really?
within the Islamic
Really?
tradition
So-
of how Christians worship
So
God.
so you don't
Not
so
even a
you
little
don't
bit.
think you don't think in any hadiths the people of the book it says the
Dude,
people
I
of the
know
book hold
I
it
know
as
the
God.
Islamic literature 10 times better than you do, and I'm
Okay,
telling
so
you that
last supper.
in
So
Islam.
So let me ask you a very basic question, man. Do you think that Muslims who willfully reject Christ worship the same God as us? Yes or no?
Nobody who willfully rejects God worships God. That's impossible.
Perfect. Then you
That's what
don't
Vatican II
agree with
says.
Vatican II.
That's what
No, then you
Vatican
don't
II
agree with
says.
Vatican II.
You obviously didn't read the end of Lumen Gentium 16, buddy.
Oh, really? Because it says the Muslims, the group, the religion.
What does it say after? If you keep reading in the next paragraph, it says those who willfully reject God are not
Dude,
part of these people who
I
are being
understand.
described.
Do you think JP2 misinterpreted Nostra Aetate when he literally cites it and says that Muslims have the same God as the Christians, the religion, not the individual, the religion?
Okay, you're not going to judge
How-
my
how
faith
can-
based
how
on the
can-
statement of
how
one believer
can-
of my faith.
how
My
can-
faith does not
the Pope-
depend on the listen. My faith does not depend on the statement of
So-
one believer.
so
Whether
you
he's
have
the
a
Pope,
better exe-
whether he's a
you have a
bishop,
better-
whether he's a priest, whether he's a brother
So
or
la-
sister.
So
My
Last
faith does
Supper
not.
Apologetics
Bro, if you let
has
me-
a
if
better
you- if-
exegesis of Nostra Aetate than Pope JP2 does, is what you're saying.
That's what you said.
You understand the Ecumenical Councils better than Pope JP2.
That's what
is
you're
what you're
saying.
saying to me right now.
That's what you just said. I just heard you.
You just said you can't judge this based off of one guy's statement. This is the Pope.
Bro, if
You're
you
saying you have a better answer than the Pope does, or
if
better
you would
understanding
stop-
of the Ecumenical
Real quick,
Council.
Bro,
fellas,
if
real
you would
quick, I will
stop
let you-
appealing
hold on,
to-
brothers, I will let you guys continue to talk, I promise. But let me just read a quick source. This is from CatholicAnswers.com. That Pope Benedict XVI, you know what I'm saying? Some of these numbers be killing me, has stated that Muslims worship the same God as Christians do. Is this just his private opinion? This is on Catholic Answers. I can send you the source. Catholic Answers says no. The Second Vatican Council taught that Muslims worship the one true God. So I'm not here to come at you or anything like that, but just wanted to show you that the consensus is that the Pope got it right with his viewing of how the text reads. This is from Catholic Answers. So the Catholic Answers doesn't say it's his private opinion or interpretation. CatholicAnswers.com actually states that it's true that Muslims and Christians do have the same God, that it's not a private opinion. I was just wanted to show you that, just interestingly.
Right,
Also,
referring to the religion.
Yeah, and also Last Supper. You're also operating under the presupposition that Muslims don't have the gospel available today. I think that your argument might have held some water maybe a few years back or what have you, but unfortunately, specifically in America, let's speak about America. Muslims have access to the Bible, they have access to YouTube, street preachers, all these things. So I wouldn't say that the ignorance thing would work. You would have a better argument saying maybe in somewhere in Pakistan or something. Maybe we can. That's another argument. But for America, right here, 2025, unfortunately, these people do have access to the gospel and they've rejected it. Last Supper, you're muted and I didn't mute you, so I just wanted to be very clear.
No, I was
if you're
on
muted,
mute.
it's because you did it yourself.
I was on mute.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to show you that
unfortunately-
source. But you guys carry on. I just wanted to show
I
you.
appreciate you sharing me the source to something I'm not making a statement on. I wasn't addressing that. And I guess I can go over that source later and check it out. But
Sure.
Well, I just wanted to make
unfortunately-
clear that the Pope saying it's the same God is
Right.
not his private interpretation, because I thought I heard you say that it doesn't even matter if it's the Pope.
No.
Someone's opinion doesn't matter. So that's what I thought I heard you say, but Catholic Answers actually says that it wasn't the Pope's private interpretation, that's what the document says.
Yeah,
Now,
let
if
me
that's
clarify
not what
real
you were
quick.
saying, if that's
No,
not what you
no.
were saying,
I
Yeah,
wasn't.
go ahead and
that's what I
clarify
heard.
that.
Yeah, so what I was saying was my faith doesn't depend on the faith of any other believer, right? So whether he's the pope, a bishop, a priest, deacon, okay. I wasn't saying that that particular statement is a personal opinion and therefore it doesn't matter. I was just making a general statement and saying that my
Okay.
faith, right? Okay.
Okay.
So I would like to move forward from Acts 17 and kind of come to an agreement on that, because I think that we kind of pressed the gas too much. We revved it too much, and we have to kind of slow
No,
down.
yeah, I think that
Because
Cleve would grant the argument that you made. I think that I still hold to the fact that it's not the same God, but
right,
we could move past that because regardless,
but we shouldn't move past it, because I don't think that it's clear here that the people
well,
of
look, let's
Athens.
just grant that. I'll just grant that it's just ignorance, and we'll go there. But I don't think that would apply to Muslims because Muslims are not ignorant. Muslims are aware of the true God. So, in other words, I'm Paul. I'm the mouthpiece of God
Right,
as an evangelist.
but they are.
Well, look, I'm the mouthpiece of God as an evangelist. I preach the gospel. So, just how Paul corrected them, I've
Mhm.
corrected many Muslims, and they reject the God of the Bible, anyways. Whereas when Paul spoke to them, some of them repented, but not all of them. Some of them did. So
Right.
those who did not repent are now going to be held accountable because they're no longer serving the true God they were made aware of. So I think that that's where we would have to part ways there.
I agree, and we wouldn't have to part ways because I agree with you. But catch what you just said is that they were made aware.
Sure. So I'm operating under the ideology that we're told. For example, Muslims in America, people that've been confronted with the gospel. We have the internet. People have seen all over the world. I'm not speaking of a random Muslim in a cave somewhere that never read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Even that is up for
Yeah,
debate.
but that's how the majority of Muslims are living. They don't have
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're
access to the
saying
Bible.
it
They have
ultimately doesn't matter because they have an ecclesiastical statement that says Jesus Christ is not God, and the entire religion is predicated on the rejection of the Trinity. If that's intrinsic to your religion, you're not worshiping the same God. It's not that you're
we,
ignorant. It's okay. We know what the Christians believe as a religion because we're talking about the religion, right? We're not talking about Farmer Muhammad in Pakistan. We're talking about the religion. So the religion knows
brother.
Christianity's
The
teaching,
religion was
and the
started from
religion,
Farmer Muhammad, bro.
well, yeah, but the religion is what we're talking about. We're not talking about an individual.
Yeah, they
So
don't have the gospel.
the religion rejects
Okay,
Christianity's teaching. Do you not think the
but
original Muslims were
bro, you are
aware of
just
what
repeating this.
Christianity taught?
Bro, respectfully, you're just repeating this over and over and over again. When the
I mean,
reality is,
you can say that though, but we're talking about the religion and not the individual.
yes, in the religion which comes from the Quran, which you agreed does not have the true gospel message. Therefore, if I am a Muslim in this world today, alive,
what
and
if the
I'm in a
Muslim is
country,
no longer ignorant?
hold
Is
on,
it
hold
still
on,
the same
hold
God?
on, let me finish. Let me finish.
No, just answer that. I'll let
No,
you
no,
finish.
no. Praise be to the Lord. Praise be to the Lord. Let me finish real quick.
Okay, go
If
ahead.
I'm a Muslim in this world alive today, praise be to Jesus Christ, and I only have the Quran. My country outlaws the Bible. My community outlaws the Bible. My community outlaws anything that has to do with Jesus Christ crucified. I only know the Quran. I do not have the gospel message. I am ignorant of Christ. I
Sure.
do not know Jesus at all, not even a little bit. This is what the Bible says. This is what the Quran says. Okay, we're taking the
Here,
Bible versus the Quran. Hold on, let me
hey,
finish real
bud,
quick.
hey,
I'm
bud, but
almost done. Let
you're
me land. Let
still,
me land. Let
yeah.
me land.
Go ahead,
Let me
go ahead,
land.
go ahead.
So, therefore, if I am a 5, 10, 15-year-old child and I am calling out to God, my family doesn't have enough resources to get water, Christ is going to answer that person to their call out to God in their ignorance. That's what Lumen Gentium is talking about. So you need to learn your facts. Go ahead.
Okay, so I need to learn my facts. Lumen Gentium isn't talking about individuals. It's talking about the Muslims, the religion. It's not talking about 5-year-old little Susie. It's talking about the religion, the Muslims in general, the entire group that has an ecclesiastical sanction that says Jesus Christ is not God. It's not talking about little Susie.
The
So
answer is no to that question, JP.
you're mixing categories. So Muslims as a group do not worship the same God. You can make arguments for individual people, maybe somebody that's stranded on an island, whatever the case may be. But if you were to take the position that you're holding, that the religion in its entirety is ignorant, you would have to be comfortable saying Buddhists worship the same God as you. You would have to be comfortable saying Hindus worship the same God as you. Do Hindus have the gospel message in their book? No. Do Satanists have the gospel message in their book? No, none of them do. You would have to make that
Please,
same exception
I have
using
a
your
quick
logic.
question for you, bro, about Vatican II. Do you
Well,
think that
before you ask that question, write it
Bro,
down. Write it down. I want you to write it down because I don't want you to forget. So write that question down. Let me know when you got it prepared. You wrote it down?
I'm gonna try to remember it, man. I'm gonna try to.
All right, good, because I don't want you to forget it. So did you just say that if a Muslim is no longer ignorant, they don't have the same God anymore at that point?
Let me come back to that, man. Let me come back to that. One
Well,
second.
at least thank you for your honesty. At least, I mean.
Let's come back to it.
All right, go ahead, Cleve.
I mean, that's pretty much it, man. It's talking about the religion. It's not talking about the individual. It says Muslims, period.
Right. So you're saying that Vatican II is saying that you can follow the Quran and Islam and still worship the true God?
It says the Muslims. You think
Right,
it's
so
talking about individuals?
So you think that the Catholic Church teaches that I, as a Catholic, can go to the mosque and I'm still worshiping God? Is that
I mean,
what you think?
that's apostasy. I mean, Francis
No.
though does that. He went to the mosque and was
You're
praying
not
with
understanding.
Muslims there.
Don't appeal to insults. Just answer the question real quick.
That's not an insult. That's a fact.
Okay, but you're not listening. You're not listening to the question. Do you think, as cleave to antiquity, as a person, do you think that Vatican II and the Catholic Church teaches that Catholics can go into a mosque and pray and they're still worshiping God?
That Catholics are worshiping God in a mosque?
Do
Vatican II
you
doesn't talk.
think that Vatican II and the Catholic Church teaches the
Settle down
following?
just a little bit, buddy.
Bro, because it's the third
You're
time I'm repeating the question.
you're getting very upset.
I love to get upset. I'm gonna stay upset. I'm gonna stay respectful though, but I'm gonna stay upset just for you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you
So
think
you're saying,
that
does Vatican II teach that Catholics go into a mosque and they're worshiping God?
That we can.
Nostra Aetate doesn't talk about that at all. What are you even talking about, dude?
Does the Catholic Church teach that I, as a Catholic, can go into a mosque and pray and I'm still worshiping God?
And pray and you're still worshiping God? You're not
Yeah.
supposed to pray with unbelievers. The Pope does that though.
As a Catholic?
You're not supposed to go into the mosque and pray. Actually, I can
This
pull
is
up I can pull
Guys,
up
is
the
this
Code
time
of Canon
5?
Law.
Is this the fifth or sixth time I'm asking the question? He hasn't gotten it.
All right, Last Supper. Look, how about this, man? We got to move on. So, but how about this? I'll have other open platforms, and you're more than welcome to come on. All right, because we got to move on with the show.
It's all about the show. That's for sure. Have fun with yourself, man. Have fun with yourself. All right, yep. There's other people. All right, God bless, man. God bless.
Here.
Thank you for
Hold
having me
on,
up. Thank you for having me up.
I was pulling up something for this gentleman here, if that's okay.
All right. Well, go ahead. Pull it up.
So according to the Code of Canon Law, it is unlawful
Gonna
for
share
the
your
faithful
screen, or
to
you pulled it up on it?
No, if I'm not gonna be able to
it's-
respond to this, I'm not doing this. If you're sharing the screen, that's not fair. I'm not.
I'm not
doing
sharing
this.
my screen. I'm just reading something.
No,
It is
I'm not gonna
unlawful
do
for-
this. That's stupid, bro. That's stupid. Just God
I'm
bless
just
you. And nah, if I'm
Okay,
not gonna be able to
that's
respond,
fine.
you're not gonna cut my time short. You're not gonna do any of that. So, God bless you. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ
All right.
answers anyone, even in their ignorance. God answers
God
people.
bless you.
All right. Well, something very interesting, Cleve, is I asked a question, and this is the question I ask all Catholics. If you're no longer ignorant, is it still the same God? If a Catholic says it's not the same God, if they're no longer ignorant, there's a problem because their writings doesn't make that distinction. The writing makes a general statement and it states that Muslims and Christians have the same God, period. It doesn't state that if you're ignorant or you're not ignorant, or it doesn't state that if they deny the Trinity that it's no longer the same God. It doesn't say that. It says that it's the same God, period, and that they adore the same God. So it doesn't make those particular things. Now,
Right.
we do got to move on, but just wanted to clarify that.
You care if I say one thing real quick? I just want to respond to that guy's question just for the people in the audience. So in the Code of Canon Law, in the Roman Catholic Church, Canon 1258 literally says it is unlawful for the faithful to assist in any active manner or to take part in the sacred services of non-Catholics. It is unlawful. So you're not supposed to do that. Yet Pope Francis has done this. Literally every single pope since Vatican II has gone and kissed the Quran or prayed in the mosque with the Muslims, all that kind of stuff. But what he was trying to do is just deflect and move on to a different topic because he knew he didn't have an answer. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, we do have a buddy of mine, Albie. I am trying to just get Catholics and Orthodox, but if you want to make a statement, you can go ahead. My house is
What's
your
up,
house,
man?
so go ahead, Albie.
Hey guys, God bless you. Great job. No, I wasn't sure if you were gonna have.
Brother, you sound a little far away. Let me see if I can edit your mic settings. Hold on.
Right.
Hold on. Let me raise you to 200.
I'm always
Hold on.
I'm always having some mic problems.
All right. Can you say something?
Yeah, can you hear me?
You sound very low.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm echoing. Albie, I'm gonna kick you out, but not because I don't like you. Just fix your mic and come back, brother. All right, Albie, I'm gonna kick you out. Just come back when you fix your.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I hear
Albie, send me an email, man. I know you wanted me to come on your channel. Let's set something up, dude.
Yeah, I'll text him that because I kicked him out. Hold on. Give me a sec.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, a good comment here in the comments. Canon 33 of Laodicea. No one shall join in prayers with heretics or schismatics. You know, Saint Thomas. Oh, I hear myself again.
Yeah,
Put headphones in, dude.
I muted you, Albie. Just put some headphones in or something like that.
Yeah, usually that's the problem. It's your speaker hitting your mic or something.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Laodicea literally says, "Do not join in prayers with schismatics or heretics." Right? That would apply to non-Christian religions as well. Saint Thomas Aquinas, who is held in very high esteem within the Roman Catholic Church, literally says that is an act of apostasy. Said that is an act of apostasy. So according to Thomas Aquinas, Pope Francis was an apostate. Okay, every pope since Vatican II was an apostate. Because guess what? They have all joined in prayers with Muslims. According to the canons of the local synods and according to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah. Albie, try talking now, brother. If you got a mic on there or something like that, or maybe
Is that better or no?
No, bro.
No, you're still echoing.
Okay.
All right, let's move on with it.
All right, sorry about that, guys.
All right, no worries, Albie. Just try to get that fixed, and then you can always come back. All right. So we're already past the 1 hour mark. How much time you got left, brother?
I'm good, man. If you wanna keep going, we can. If you got to go, that's all good. Whichever.
We'll keep going as long as I can. I do got to get to the books at some point. Got to get some studying in. But you know, I've mastered the logical gates. You know, the logical gates. I'm pretty much studying those, connecting them, and all those things. You know, so that's what we're doing right now. You know, NOT gates, XOR gates, XNOR gates, and you know, all these things. So you know, that's what I've been working on as of late.
Yeah.
But all right. You know, I guess we can carry on with this. So, you know, Catholics always make the argument based on the idea of ignorance. But what if you're no longer ignorant, right? I don't believe it's the same God if you're ignorant. Let me get that very clear. But
yeah,
if you're no longer ignorant, is it the same God then? And I would have to say that it's not.
You know, I think it's so funny the argument that guy was making. He's like, does it say in the Quran? Does it have the gospel in the Quran? No, of course not. It's a false religion. If you were to take that line of reasoning that just because the Quran doesn't say the gospel, that they're somehow ignorant when their own religious system, and Vatican II is talking about the religion. Don't get me wrong. It's not talking about individuals. It's talking about the religion itself. The Muslims, meaning adherents to this religion. So all of them, not just the outlier, little Timmy or whatever. It's the entire religion. If they all have the same God as you, You can't use that line of reasoning. You would then have to extend that same line of reasoning to Buddhists, to Hindus, to all of them. Do we worship the same God as Jews? Old Testament Jews worship the Trinity in type. Modern Talmudic Jews reject the Trinity, reject Jesus. Read the Talmud. It literally says Jesus is boiling in poop in hell. They do not have the same God as us, modern Talmudic Jews.
Nope.
Old Testament Jews worship the Trinity in type.
Amen.
Hello.
How's it going, Steve? How's it going?
Hello, everything's going good, my friends. Yeah, I'm
Are
sorry
you a
to just
Christian?
yeah.
Okay. Are you a Catholic?
I'm inquiring, yeah. Inquiring.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Cleve is here at your service.
What's up, Stephen? How you doing, man?
Before we go there, do you believe that we have the same God as Muslims?
Yes, currently.
What if
Okay.
a Muslim is no longer ignorant?
Pardon?
What if a Muslim is no longer ignorant?
Then they've come to know the true God more fully.
Okay, but if they're no longer ignorant, is it still the same God?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to take it from here, Cleve, or should I keep asking him questions? You're my guest.
No, go, Stephen. Why don't you
Yeah,
lay out
I-
why you think they worship the same God, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'll just go for Romans 1, me personally, because I feel like everyone can know God through like natural theology. Like when I came to God, I didn't think that God was triune, but when I was praying, I hoped to think that I was still praying to God in some sort of way.
I don't think you have the facilities. I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man. It's
Here. Let me engage with that. So if you are ignorant of the things of God, if you're ignorant of the Trinity, ignorant of who God is, or you're seeking him, in that sense, I would say, yes, your prayers are going towards God. But the difference is when you cross over from ignorance into willful rejection, we would say that you're not worshiping the same God. When we talk about Muslims,
Okay.
we're talking about a group that has like a actual ecclesiastical rejection of Jesus. If you were to actually read their text, read the Hadiths, it says they don't reject Jesus as the person, but they reject his divinity. They say he's not God; he's just a prophet, right? So when you actually reject who Jesus is ontologically, right? Who God is ontologically, because we're not just talking about like he's not composed of parts. You can't just like slice God up. God's not composite. You either have God or you don't. So it's not like you can have half God or whatever. You know what I mean? It's an essential part.
Yeah, but my response would probably be to that, isn't God like ontologically the creator? So if I'm referring to the creator of the universe, am I not by default referring to the triune God?
Well, can I ask you a question? So if that's all that matters is the referent, right? If I were to say, and I don't do this, but this is just an example. If I were to say that I worship the God of Abraham, the creator of the universe, but my version of the God of Abraham, the creator of the universe, is a pink elephant with a unicorn horn. Am I still worshiping the same God as Christians?
No, because I'd say a pink elephant is a created thing. That would probably be idolatry and polytheism. But if you're
let's
saying
just
the creator of the universe,
this
then
is an
obviously wouldn't be pointing
let's just say this is an
inside of the
uncreated.
universe.
Sure. Let's just say this is an uncreated pink elephant with a unicorn horn. Would I still be worshiping the same God?
Well, a pink elephant with a unicorn horn is a created thing. Like you're saying,
not in my made up theology
within the universe.
Well, I would say, okay, that the pink elephant with the unicorn horn is the uncreated, uncaused first cause. Would I still be worshiping the same God if we have the same referent?
Hello?
Yeah, would we still be worshiping the same God if that is the case?
Hello? Sorry, can you repeat that? I cut out a bit.
Yeah, so if I say that the pink elephant with a unicorn horn is uncreated, is the uncaused first cause, creator of the universe and the God of Abraham, but my version of him is just an uncreated pink elephant with a unicorn horn, would you say that I still have the same God as you? Because if you can't say yes to that, then you can't say yes to the Muslims.
Well, I would say no, because when you start talking about a created pink elephant, these
Well,
are
I just said
things that you.
I just said he's uncreated, though.
But it's a pink elephant. That's a created thing.
So what? I said it's uncreated.
But it is created. Like
Okay.
that's what I don't get with the question. A pink elephant is a thing you can conjure up in your brain as created.
Do
So
you think Jesus is God? Do you think Jesus is
yes.
God?
Yes.
Okay.
of
Did
course.
Jesus have a human body?
Yes.
Okay. So he has a human nature and a divine nature, right?
Yep.
Okay. So is Jesus fully God?
Yep.
Now, if I were to walk up to a Muslim and let's say we travel back in time to the crucifixion and I tell them to look up at the cross, do you think they would tell me that's their God?
Nope.
No. So do they have the same God as me?
Not in that sense.
Jesus,
No.
Jesus is my God.
Not
Yeah,
in that sense.
exactly. Exactly.
But,
So
okay,
the
but then
reason
can I
the
phrase it
reason
back
it's
to you?
difficult to answer, Stephen, the reason that it's difficult to answer, and I'm not trying to be mean to you or rude or anything. I really appreciate you coming on and asking questions because you're an inquirer, you're trying to learn. So nothing against you, man. But the reason this is so difficult to answer is because you cannot reject who God is ontologically and still be worshiping the same God. I'll give you a couple examples. You can't reject Jesus. You can't reject the Trinity because our God, if you're a Christian, our God is Jesus. Our God is the Trinity. Now, you might say, like, what about theological distinctives or whatever? We're not talking about theological distinctives. I'm talking about ontology. So some people will give me an example of, well, what about the filioque? That's a pretty big deal, right? You're talking about distinctives within the Trinity. Well, Stephen, you wouldn't say the filioque is your God, right?
I would say it's relevant to the nature of God, yeah. Like whether or not
It's relevant, but would you say the filioque itself is your God, though?
No,
It's just
that's
it's a
obviously, I think
theological
it's a
distinction
theological term.
about procession. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So even something as big as that we wouldn't say is our God. But God is not composed of parts, nor can you break off pieces of him. So when somebody willfully rejects who God is, Jesus, the Trinity, then they no longer worship the same God. Did you watch the Jay Dyer debate the other night, Stephen?
Yeah, I did watch it. I watched through the whole thing. I wasn't really that convinced. Like I'm inquiring into Catholicism, and I do understand the argument from natural theology. So that's really the part where I'm like, okay, like how can you?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have any issue saying somebody who's ignorant and doesn't willfully reject Jesus, doesn't willfully reject the Trinity, or maybe somebody who's coming from a background in which they did, but now they're inquiring and now they're actually seeking God. They're saying, like, God, I if you're there, tell me, give me a sign. I would say, yeah, they're actively seeking God. But when you're willfully rejecting him and you're worshiping something else, even those Roman Catholic guys in that debate last night had to admit at the very beginning that somehow they're worshiping a demon as well as God at the same time, which is nonsense. If you have to affirm that they're somehow worshiping a demon and God at the same time, you might want to reevaluate your worldview. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but my response 100% to that would be, like, I see Muslims and Jews also as worshipping a God that is uncreated. I don't see any other, like, religion doing that. So I do think if there is only one God, then how can they be talking about different things? That's just doesn't make sense in my brain.
Sure.
Like,
I mean, if
they're just
that
another
was
like God just floating in the air that someone's worshipping, that's actually the devil, or what you say with that?
Well, no. So that's a good point. I'm glad you bring that up. So the Bible actually says that the sacrifices to the pagan gods are actually sacrifices to demons, right? So if you're not worshiping the same God as us, if you're not worshiping Jesus Christ, you're not worshiping the Trinity. What you're actually worshiping is a demon. That's what the Roman Catholic guys had to acknowledge because they know that's in the Scripture. They had to acknowledge that at the beginning of the debate. That somehow, and how they tried to reconcile those verses together was to say that in some sense they're worshiping a demon, and then in some sense they're worshiping the true God, which is nonsense. You can't do both.
Yeah, I do kind of agree with. But what would you make of the Acts 17 verse of Paul telling the Athenians that
Yeah, that's a
worshiping
great question. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great question, Stephen. A lot of people bring that up, and those people are worshiping an unknown God, right? So they don't know who it is, right?
Yep.
So would you say they're ignorant of whether or not that God exists or who that is?
Yep.
So in their ignorance, do you think that their prayers might be going towards the one true God because they're ignorant and they're not willfully rejecting who God is?
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
okay.
when they, yeah, you see
I
what
was
I'm
gonna
saying?
say, so you're trying to make the distinction that because Muslims are not ignorant, like as in like they directly reject that God is a father,
Correct.
the Trinity, that means that they are now worshipping the devil. But if they were not ignorant, then it could be said to be worshipping God. Is that correct?
Yep, and that's why the issue with Vatican II is that it's not talking about individuals. It says Muslims, the religion itself. And then
Okay,
it
but
actually
then,
describes distinctives about the religion itself in the following passages as well. And if you have any like qualms about maybe my interpretation of Vatican II, Pope JP2 literally in his exposition of Nostra Aetate refers to the religion and says they worship the same God. It uses the word same God in that context as well.
okay, to okay, what would you make about the woman at the well? Like, I think it's somewhere in John 4 specifically, because that also links with what I was thinking with Acts 17, where it's like, I'm
Oh,
pretty
Sure.
sure this.
So
let me pull that
that's
up.
a yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So I can answer that pretty quickly. That would be in the same context because when did she meet Jesus? She met Jesus at the well,
Yep.
and after he had told her the truth, what did she do? She accepted him, right?
Yep.
Now, if she had willfully rejected Jesus, do you think we would say that she's worshiping the same God? If she had
Well,
willfully rejected him at the well,
from how I currently understand it, yeah. But from what you're saying, I understand what you're saying.
right? Yeah. So I mean, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're inquiring, but this is the thing, man. If you were to become a Roman Catholic, you have to accept Vatican II and Nostra Aetate. If you are finding an issue with this, which lots of Roman Catholics are, this is a real sticking point. A lot of people are coming out of the woodworks to debate this topic because they know this disproves the entire system. If this ecumenical council is wrong, the system is wrong. And
Yeah.
multiple papal decrees have followed up on this particular topic. Pope JP2 has made several commentaries on this. Several other popes have made commentaries on Nostra Aetate. Pope JP2, in his address to the Moroccan Muslims, literally said, "We worship the same God." He's also in other writings asked St. John the Baptist to bless Islam or protect Islam. So, I mean, there's all sorts of craziness that goes on with this
Yeah.
document and its ramifications.
Okay, but I would say for me personally, if I'm not going to become a Catholic, I'll probably be an atheist, because then Christianity just doesn't make sense for me.
Why would you
personally.
say that? Why does Roman Catholicism? Why is that the end all be all?
Oh well, because the scriptures are confusing. Like the Bible is not like a simple book. Like, look how everyone's going back and forth right now on this one topic. It's like it's
Well,
not an easy thing to understand. So while
Can I?
I'm trying to understand it myself, and they're like, okay, at least if the Pope is like actually infallible, at least God has given me a way to actually know what is true within this book. When there's like 2 million competing things, everyone's saying one thing.
I get what you're saying. It can be a little daunting when you start at first, but that's why it's so important to join a local church and to have somebody who can guide you spiritually on these types of issues. A good way that you can also discern whether or not you're on the right track in terms of interpretation is to compare interpretation of specific topics with the consensus of the church fathers. Roman Catholics don't do that. If you were to look at what the early church teaches, it does not teach what Roman Catholicism teaches today. If you were to look at some of the videos on my channel, it literally breaks down step by step what the patristic witness was on specific issues and compares it and contrasts it with Roman Catholicism. If you feel that the reason that if you were not going to become Roman Catholic, or if you were to become Roman Catholic, you would become an atheist, is just because the Bible's too confusing, let me just offer this to you, man. I will literally take the time to answer any of your Bible questions if you reach out to me. I'm a pastor. This is what I do. You're worth the time. You're created in the image of God. Jesus loves you. Don't think that just because Roman Catholicism is false, because it is false, that Christ is wrong or that the Bible is wrong. because I can prove to you in and over the claims of any of these groups. This is what I do all day. I can prove to you in and over the claims of these other groups. The patristic witness on the interpretation of these verses has always been taught that if you reject Christ, you do not worship the same God.
Okay, so can I ask you this question then? Do you think there are Catholics, like let's say those people are arguing against Jay Dyer, do you think
Sure.
that they are arguing in an honest way, or do you think that they are trying to deceive people? Because I'm listening to the debate and I'm like, okay, both these people actually believe what they're saying. So is God like causing confusion here? Like, that's the question I'm asking. If
No, it's
Catholicism
just
is
this.
not
It's
true,
just the sinfulness of men, man. This is why, as a Protestant, we hold the sola scriptura. Scripture is the sole infallible rule of faith, because we know that the Scripture itself is infallible, but the traditions of men and various interpretations of verses that are maybe ambiguous, right, have been wrong by people who claim to hold infallible views on these particular topics. So
yeah. Then
decrees like
who
Nostra
says it's
Aetate,
wrong?
like decrees on Nostra Aetate, decrees Lumen Gentium, several of the canons of ecumenical councils are no longer held to. So when a man tries to declare himself as infallible, it doesn't typically work out.
Okay,
But the
so
Bible is infallible.
okay, I would ask you this then: why would
Sure.
God, give us an infallible revelation in the Bible, but then leave us as fallible men to work out what he actually means? Because I've heard all these arguments on like free will, predestination, once saved, always saved. Are you saved forever? Do you have to keep the Mosaic law? Do you not have to keep the Mosaic law? Like, I just I think to myself, okay, did God really want this? Like, is this what God wanted? That's basically
Sure.
the question I have.
Have
Like,
you ever
I'm not really
read the
with
Bible,
Catholics
Stephen?
either. Yeah,
Have you ever
not the
read the
whole
Bible,
thing.
Stephen?
Yes, I
Well,
have, but
any
not
part of it,
like
like
to
the
full.
Old Testament or anything like that?
Yes.
Have you seen in the Old Testament where the Jews consistently go and they begin to worship idols over and over and over again, and they disregard the teachings of God, or maybe they get confused about his instructions, or whatever the case may be, and they make mistakes over and over and over again?
Yeah. Yep.
So do you not think the same thing happens today?
Yeah. Then I would ask, how are we corrected by God? Like, has God corrected anyone? And if so, how do we know who God has corrected?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So we see several times in history. This is why understanding church history is important. Have you ever heard of the Arian crisis?
Yeah, where he started saying Jesus isn't God.
Right. So you had Athanasius. They called him Athanasius contra mundum. So it was Athanasius against the world. Multiple bishops had become Arian. It was actually the majority. And he stood firm and actually won back the church. Your mic is going a little crazy. You might want to mute.
Yeah,
There you go.
Stephen, I muted you because your mic is acting up.
Yeah, no worries. So you see this several times throughout church history. You see it several times throughout church history. You see it in the Old Testament. You see it in the New Testament. You see literally Peter going back and becoming a Judaizer for a time, and Paul had to rebuke him. This is just the nature of things. Man is fallible. As soon as Moses went up that mountain and we were left alone to our own devices for a little while, we started to create idols. But that's what the Protestant Reformation is all about. It's about tearing down those idols, some of this false teachings, some of the elevation of men in and over the Word of God. We're trying to get back to the teachings of the apostles. So if you're interested in learning about the teachings of the apostles, what the teachings of the early church actually taught on verses like we're discussing now, check out some of the videos that I have on my channel. And then again, if you want to reach out to me, man, I'm down to have private conversations with you and answer any of your questions, brother.
Do you have a Discord or something like that where you'll be able to find you? Stephen, you're not going to be able to talk anymore because your mic is acting up. Before you leave, I want to connect you both. How will
Yeah,
he
no
be
worries.
able to have private?
Go to my page, find my email on there. You can send me an email. It's in my bio, and then we can figure out how to reach out from there. Okay, Stephen?
Yeah, hold on, Stephen. Let me get. Oh, I don't want to blast your email to 140 people. Stephen.
It's just cleave to antiquity at gmail.com.
Yeah, let me get that for him real quick. Just give me a sec. Give me a sec. Let me get that for him. All right. Stephen, look at the private chat. There's a private chat, right?
Yep.
All right. So you see that private chat right there, Stephen?
Yeah, there you go. But before you go, Stephen, I just want to tell you, man, reach out to me whenever. You are worth the time. You are created in the image of God. Jesus Christ loves you. You're never going to bother me by reaching out, man. I will talk to you about Jesus whenever you want. If you have a question about interpretation of whatever, I would highly encourage you, to reach out and have those conversations, because it would break my heart if you found out, because you probably will find out, that Roman Catholicism is false. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. If that is what makes you an atheist, that would break my heart. I'm willing to work with you and discuss whatever with you to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, man? God bless you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Now, Stephen, I'd let you talk, but your mic is acting very robotic. So you said that Stephen says God bless and that he got it. Okay. It's on the private chat. All right. Well, that's a bit of a leap there. If Catholicism is false, become an atheist. That's a bit of a leap there. But obviously, you guys will have your private conversations. And that's that. That's the situation at hand with this particular thing. A lot of Catholics are in a dilemma right now. There's a very big situation with this doctrine, because any way you slice it, right, you're dealing with a deity that is a pagan god, and you're saying that's the same God as the Catholic God. Which I would have to say, man, that for me, look, I've really been I gotta cover my hair now, man. I gotta go to the barbershop ASAP. But and people are laughing at my hairline or whatever, but I'm gonna get a hair transplant.
Bro, I'm no better, man. Come on.
You're way better than me, brother. But
No way, dude.
Yeah, in a couple of years, I'm just waiting till I'm because they say they tell us you don't want to get a hairline transplant when you're in your early 20s, mid 20s. The later you get a hair transplant, the better, because when you're later in life, right, once you're 36, 37, 38, 39 or 40, early 40s, your hair is going to get to the point where you're going to get to. Now, obviously, I use chemicals and things like that to preserve what I have. But once I hit 35, 36, 37, I'm 33 now, I'll definitely get a hair transplant and I'm good to go. So I could rush and get it now, but it's not recommended. But regardless, I would never this is where I draw the line. I'm not going to get, that's where I draw.
What's so funny, dude? My wife will sit there and watch TikToks where they got the guys with the toupees, and she's like, "That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Why don't you do that?" I'm like, "No way, dude. Put all that glue on your head and just slap it on there."
Yeah, that's where I draw the line. You know what I'm saying? And it's an ugly reality, because it's like, how did you have a full head of hair, one day, and then the next day you're completely bald?
Yeah.
I couldn't live in that life. But I will get a hair transplant in a couple of years, maybe when I'm in my mid 30s. And I think at that point I'll fare well, because I'm not bald in the back. As long as you're not bald in the back, if you're bald here, if you're bald in the sides, you're good. But if you're bald in the back, that's where you have trouble. If you're balding here, you're good. Because and so I did a little bit of research, and I also like the baldy. But here's the problem with the baldy, Cleve. The problem with having a baldy, and I love the baldy, I would be bald every day, is that I can't do it every day. Like every other day, every 3 days, you gotta continue to be bald. You gotta continue. I can't live that lifestyle.
Just get the little roller shaver. You know what I mean?
I did, but it doesn't work as advertised.
Oh, yeah.
It jams up. And then you have to go through this process. I can't do it. So see this brother here, Bold for Christ. He comes on the channel. This is every Friday. I haven't gotten a haircut in some time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm chilling. But if you want to live the bold life, that's dedicated. You have to dedicate your life to being bold. I can't do that. I just rather just let it grow out, and then I'll go to the barbershop when I can. But I can't do the bold life. I can't do it. It's just too much work. But props to the bold brothers out there, because they really do put in that work. But yeah, back to the brothers. Now this fella here said, "Bold for Christ, you own it." Yes, he owns it. But again, I own it as well. But I can't just cut my hair bald I can't do it. But anyways, I'll get a hair transplant. Yes, I use Rogaine. I use all of those things. You know, that's why I still have the hair that I have. And, you know, when I'm 35. But let's move on here because if people randomly click this, they're going to say, what is this, a hair advertisement?
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, this is what I will say. I think that's the main issue with this particular doctrine. I believe that this doctrine is going to really shake people up. Now,
Yeah.
I think that one or two things are going to happen. Individuals might go in another direction. They might say, hey, I might join the Assyrian Church of the West or whatever the heck, the East, or might become Orthodox.
Yeah, the East.
Yeah, Orthodox does have its issues. I believe that. But I believe that there will be also an influx of growing number of Protestants. And I see a lot of Catholics leaving the church. In fact, recently, Cleve, we were in a channel where a particular brother, he left. Oh, Albie. Still doesn't work. All right, Albie.
Get some headphones, man.
Yeah, Albie, if you have headphones, try that on. But Albie, look, I'm gonna give you some troubleshooting. Do you have YouTube on? Like, do you have YouTube on your web browser right now?
I do, but it's on mute.
Okay. All right. Go to settings, and you're gonna click audio.
On YouTube or streaming?
No, mute them real quick. It's the speakers hitting your microphone.
Yeah, but it's weird, brother, because normally I do this and I never have an issue with this. So I'm trying to figure out why it's being an issue right now.
Okay, so look.
Turn your volume down, then maybe.
Yeah, turn your volume down. Do that, and then
on the speakers.
Yeah. Okay, I muted you. Let me unmute you now. All right, mic check.
How about now?
It's better, but
it's still a little echoey.
You know what? Here, there you go. Echo cancellation. I just put that on.
All right, let's see it.
All right.
Yeah, that's better.
So is that better?
That fixed
now
it.
We're cooking, man.
All right, praise God, man. Praise God. Cleve to Antiquity, God bless you, brother. God bless you, man. Love the work.
God bless you.
Yeah. So Albie, this brother said that well, now that you're here, the brother said send him an email so you guys could work on something at some point.
Yeah, I would be honored, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll try to hop on other people's channels on Thursdays, so we'll set something up. I do a thing. I do like one person on my channel on a Thursday, and that same day I go on someone else's channel. So I'll set that up like every Thursday.
Oh, that'll be cool. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I noticed, excuse me, my sinuses are kicking in like no other. I noticed an argument that the Catholics keep bringing up, and they keep appealing to John chapter 4. I'm not sure if they know what the context of John 4 is, because if they did, they wouldn't be appealing to John 4. That would be the last place they would be appealing to. I'm not saying that they're ignorant of the context, but I don't think they've really thought it through. It just sounded good, and so they ran with it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah,
the reason why I mentioned that is because when we read this narrative, right, this historical narrative, we have to understand it in its proper context. Now, would you guys mind if I just took 2 minutes and gave context to the viewers? And this is going to blow your minds, by the way, if you guys just bear with me 2 minutes. But watch how this backfires against them. JP, you good with this, brother? And Cleve, to Antiquity, you guys good with this?
he said JP says yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So, brother JP, do me a favor. Pull up for me 2 Kings chapter 17, and we're going to read 24 to 34. 2 Kings chapter 17, 24 to 34. And I'm going to read out of the New King James. Not that it matters. The ESV is a sufficient translation. I'm just, it's easier on my eyes only because I've read it a lot, many times over. So it's just the NASB, LSB, and the New King James. It just resonates with me a lot easier.
Just tell me the verse one more time. The verse.
Sure. 2 Kings chapter 17, 24 to 34.
24 to 34.
Yes, sir. Bro, I've been listening for an hour and a half now, and I didn't like. My bad, bro. I always like.
Yeah, if y'all haven't liked the live stream yet, go ahead and hit like. And somebody consider sending a super chat. Support JP. You know, he's having guests on. We're giving you this information about Vatican II, dialoguing with Roman Catholics. You know, so consider supporting JP.
Yeah. All right. So I'll start reading, huh? It says,
Yeah, go ahead.
Then the king of Assyria brought people from Babylon. Let's count. Babylon, Cutha, Ava, Hamath, and from Sepharvaim. 5 nations. And placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they took possession of Samaria and dwelt in its cities. And it was so at the beginning of their dwelling there that they did not fear Yahweh. Therefore, Yahweh sent lions among them, which killed some of them. So they spoke to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations whom you have removed and placed in the cities of Samaria do not know the rituals of the God of the land. Therefore, he has sent lions among them, and indeed, they are killing them because they do not know the rituals of the God of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Send there one of the priests whom you brought from there. Let him go and dwell there, and let him teach them the rituals of the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel and taught them how they should fear Yahweh. However, every nation continued to make gods of its own and put them in the shrines. What's the point of the shrines? Shrine is a place of sacrifice, an altar of worship. It's what you do to worship. That's what these altars are for. Even when you're married, you're married under an altar, making a sacrifice, a dedication, right, to your spouse before God. That's why you can't serve the true God apart from being in covenant with him. You just can't. It's covenantal language. So moreover, however, every nation continued to make gods of its own and put them into shrines on the high places, which the Samaritans had made every nation in the cities where they dwelt. Now notice, let's count. The men of Babylon made Succoth and Benoth. 1. The men of Cuth made Nergal, talking about their gods. 2. The men of Hamath made Ashima. 3. And the Evites made Nebhas and Tartak. 4. And the Sepharvites burned their children in fire to Adremelech and Anemelech. 5. The gods of Sepharvaim. So how many gods from the nations were over the land, building shrines, altars, covenants to the people of that land? 5 gods from the 5 nations, right?
Yep.
So they feared Yahweh, and from every class they appointed for themselves priests of high places and sacrificed for them in the shrines of the high places. They feared Yahweh, yet served their own gods, according to the rituals of the nations from among them, whom they were carried away. Now, to this day, it says, continue practicing for former rituals. They do not fear the Lord. Okay, what's the point in saying all this? JP, can you go to John chapter 4 now? And then let's start reading from verse 13 and on. Let me know when you're there, and I'll start reading. John 4:13 and on. All right. So it says, Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks of this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman said to him, Sir, give me this water that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw. Jesus said to her, Go call your husband and come here. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said to her, You have well said, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have, which is me, Jesus Christ, is not your husband, meaning not yet. In that you spoke truly. Jesus is speaking about the 5 husbands that this land and the people of the land were married to. Now, although this is called a double entendre, she most likely did have 5 husbands as well, but it's a double entendre, which means a double meaning. Did you guys catch it? The land was married to 5 gods, meaning 5 husbands. And Jesus says, and the one whom you now have, which is me, is not your husband, at least not yet. So then why do the Catholics keep appealing to John chapter 4 when it's actually going to backfire against them if put there in its proper context? That's all I wanted to say.
Wow, that was deep. No one's gonna use that against me again.
Bro, I love you, JP. I swear I love you, man.
I think probably, because I agree, if you're worshiping a different god, it's not as if, oh, somehow the referent is the same, because I'm actually just referring to the creator of the universe. It depends on if you're ignorant or if you willfully reject Christ. Ultimately, that's all it boils down to. It doesn't need to go much further than that. No Roman Catholic is able to get past that point. And if they are able to simply say, oh, well, actually, no, if I do reject Christ, if I do reject the Trinity willfully, I'm still worshiping the same God, then they're just lying through their teeth. I can walk them through step by step and show them how they don't actually believe that, which is what we were doing earlier with the gentleman with the the God on the cross, the Jesus Christ on the cross, and that kind of thing. So I don't know, these debates kind of just are pretty shut and dry. The only other approach that I've seen people use is maybe somebody will try to quote mine Protestants in the past that have said something similar, like, oh, actually the Jews have the same God or something, or oh, actually the Muslims have this. We as Protestants, we don't have a pope, man. I could say those guys were wrong on that particular issue. So it's not as though I'm in the same boat as a Roman Catholic who is literally bound by ecumenical council to affirm Muslims have the same God as them. This is a defeater for their entire system. There's no reason to become Roman Catholic. If they're wrong on this particular topic, then they're wrong about the ecumenical councils being infallible. They're wrong about their magisterium. They're wrong about the statements of the Pope. It collapses the entire system.
Exactly.
Which is absolutely insane. And they'll try to use Eastern Orthodox patriarchs that have said similar things. Because if you were to read, I've done videos on this long before this topic was even in like the popular space, in which I'm sure if you watch the channel, Albie, you've probably seen them, in which E.P. Bartholomew says it doesn't matter if you call God Allah or Jesus or whatever. We all have one God. There's only one God. And the guy says, all religions have the same God. He says, yes, all religions have the same God. So patriarchs of the Eastern Orthodox Church have said the same thing, but the difference between the two worldviews is the Eastern Orthodox are not bound to affirm every little comment their patriarchs say. Roman Catholics are bound to Vatican II. There's no getting around that. They're done for. You can't annul that. You can't override that. I'm sure there's all sorts of mental gymnastics that will happen in maybe the next 50 years, but really, I don't think they're going to back up on that kind of statement there, because if you were to look at who the Pope is, this Pope was basically handpicked by the prior Pope. They met every single Saturday. He was his guy. His own brother knew he was in the top 3 papal candidates the day after Pope Francis died. It's all set up. It's the same exact guy, basically. His brother said he's going to be a mirror copy of Pope Francis. So all the liberal nonsense, plurality, all of that stuff is going to continue on within the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 13, that if meat causes my brother to stumble, I will never again eat meat. This is a huge stumbling block to many babies in the faith, where it can cause them to either leave the faith or whatever the case may be. It's a stumbling block. There should be no room for this whatsoever.
Right.
And then I want to read a quote, if you don't mind, and I want to hear your thoughts on this quote. I sent it to JP earlier.
Before you do that, can I answer this guy's question? Because somebody sent in a super chat.
Yeah, and
asked the question.
Before you do that, I had to block somebody because on this panel we have a rule. If you bark, you must embark. And what does that mean? It means that you can talk trash on the platform. You can talk trash. You can say all these things, push your Catholic propaganda. But if you don't join the live stream to defend those views, you will get blocked. And so a couple of live streams ago, we had an individual who was trash talking a panelist, saying all these kind of things. We told him to come up to defend his views. He said he wasn't going to do it. I guess somebody timed them out, but that's not a timeable offense. That's a banning offense. So Catholics, you can talk, but if I ask you to come up, you have to come up or you will get banned. Here's the question, Pastor.
All right, so he says the last offense I can picture Catholics using is, well, they're not ex-cathedral. What would you say to that? They're bound to the ecumenical councils anyway. Ex-cathedral just refers to statements of the Pope. An ecumenical council is a decree of the entire church, is binding. So it would be on the same level of authority. Now, granted, you have some Roman Catholics that say, well, it's not making any new dogma. Vatican II is not actually, like, Lumen Gentium Nostratate is not making any new dogma. It doesn't matter. Read Denzinger. You're bound to the decrees of the ecumenical council with your entire mind, the full assent of your thought and your will. So they're bound to it anyway. Most Roman Catholics don't read Denzinger, which is insane. This is where they get their dogma from. Crack that open, Roman Catholics. The ones that say the only thing that I'm bound to are these ex-cathedra statements literally know nothing about their own religion. I have a bunch of resources that I could show you, according to Denzinger, that show that they are actually bound to the decrees of the ecumenical councils. They're also bound to the decrees of the Pope, even if they're not ex-cathedra statements. Most Roman Catholics don't know that. You have to read their treaties on their dogma. Where do they get their dogma from? All of the resources that are included in Denzinger. Sorry, I hope that's helpful.
Somebody said this real quickly now. In short, somebody said, hold on. Did I hear this correctly? Not your husband, meaning Jesus. I'm assuming that's towards you, Albie.
I'm sorry, what is that? Did I hear correctly? He said the one you have now is not your husband, meaning Jesus. Exactly. Yeah, because Jesus is the God of this land, and he's coming to take back what actually rightfully belongs to him. And that's why the gospel is going to go out from where? From Jerusalem to Samaria and to the ends of the earth. And this is prophesied in the Hebrew scriptures. This is not something that I came up with myself. There's a great book that I enjoy very much. It's by John Rhodes.
Nice camera there.
Sorry?
Nice camera. Like it
What
follows
do you got? You got the OBS spot going?
That's my I have that Apple Mac screen.
Oh,
so
okay.
It follows.
No, but your MacBook screen follows you around like that?
Yeah.
What feature is that?
It's not a feature. I think it just comes with it. Or hold on. So when I go on it, so it says center stage on it. So I have that studio display. You know what I'm talking about? Studio display.
Interesting. I'll look into that.
It's just like a huge Studio
Interesting.
Display Mac. You know.
I found that citation from Dinzinger. So for the gentleman that was asking about ex cathedra statements, that's not the only thing that Roman Catholics are bound to. So let me just read to you a brief citation in Dinzinger. This is where they get their dogma from. In other words, it is a condemned proposition that the Roman Church is only to be followed in extraordinary dogmatic matters. Okay. The obligation by which Catholic teachers and writers are absolutely bound is restricted to those matters only which are proposed by the infallible judgment of the Church to believe by all dogmas of faith. If you were to hold to that, you are condemned. So, in other words, if you hold that the only obligation that you're to hold to are the infallible judgments of the Church and the dogmas of the faith, if you say that's the only thing I need to be held to, according to the Roman Catholic Church, you are condemned. You're going to hell. So if any Roman Catholic tells you the only thing that they need to listen to from the Pope is his ex cathedra statements, by the teaching of the Roman Catholic Church, he's going to hell. So you can't hold that and be a Roman Catholic. Not only are you out of the church, it says you're condemned. So that's not me saying that. That's the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. So if you're a Roman Catholic and you think the only thing that you need to hold to is ex cathedra statements by the Pope, you might want to consider changing your worldview.
Yeah. Anything you want to bring up, Otis, to Cleve, Brother Cleve? He's here. You can ask him anything you like. I know you're inquiring Catholicism and Orthodoxy, but Brother Cleve is here. So go ahead, Otis. In the meantime, try to figure out how I can get my camera to follow me around. So
I got the OBS spot, man. It
well,
does
I
the
have
AI
that as
tracking.
well, but if I can get my camera to follow me around without using the Ozbot, because the Ozbot has, the Ozbot has given me a few scares. Like I remember one time I did a signal,
Did it?
and the Ozbot went all the way down, bro. Like all the way down.
I turned it off. I turned off the AI tracking.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up, Otis?
Hey guys, let me know if you can hear me because I'm on acreage Wi-Fi right now. I'm out of town. So
Yeah, you sound all right. You're a little robotic, but I can hear you.
Okay, because it took me a while to get on. Usually, it's obviously in the city. It's I get on right away, but it took me a while to get on. But you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah. What question you got, man?
No, I just wanted. I found what Albie said really interesting, so I just wanted some clarification on what the Lord meant when He said. Because I want to be. JP already knows my position. Cleve, we've never talked. We never met. I do not believe Allah and we worship the same God as Allah, even though I'm apostolic. I don't believe that for a second. But someone did bring up John 4. I know you guys discussed a lot of John, or not John, what is it? Acts 17 and Romans 10. I know that's been discussed a lot recently, but I've heard someone bring up John 4, and I was glad. I was bringing it up in the comments, and I was glad that Albie addressed it, but I just want clarification on what the Lord meant. Because I got what Albie did when he connected it to the husbands. I got that part, but I wanted clarification what the Lord meant. You worship what you do not know, but we worship what we know.
Yeah, and salvation is of the Jews because they don't know what they worship, meaning that they're false gods, they're false deities. Those 5 husbands that did her no good. You know what I mean? They're not real deities. They're false deities, just like Allah, no more, no less. However, what Christ does is he doubles down. How? I'm going to blow your mind a little more. Let's go to John chapter 4, verse 26, but I'm going to go into the Peshitta, the Aramaic. I'm in Bible Hub. Matter of fact, JP, you got Bible Hub, bro?
Yeah. What do you want me to pull up, brother?
John 4, please, bro. John 4, 26 in the ARA. You see where all the translations are up there highlighted in the sky blue?
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
It's right where it says ARA. This is going to blow your mind.
ARA, brother? You sure?
Yeah, but you're not in Bible Hub. You're in Bible Gateway, I think.
Okay.
There it is. Beautiful. You see where it says ARA all the way on top in the sky, now highlighted blue, light blue?
Yeah, let me get the verse, though.
Yeah.
Okay. ARA, you said?
Yes, please.
And where do you see this?
All the way on the right, bro. Keep going on the right. Oh, let me see. Oh, right there. It's ARL. Left, left, up. So right there. Left, 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 left.
Yes,
Right
yes.
there. All right. John 4. I'm going to read 25 and 26. Cool? Matter of fact, I'll read from 22 to 26 so we have the proper context. You are worshiping what you do not know. We know what we are worshiping, for the life is of the Jews. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in the truth. For the Father also is seeking such worshipers as these. For the Spirit is God, and it is fitting that those who worship him worship in the Spirit and in the truth. The woman said to him, I know that the Messiah is coming, and when he comes, he will teach us all things. Yeshua said to her, I am the living God, I who am speaking with you. And she accepted it. You see what it means? Otis?
He's muted. Otis, you're muted.
You mute and deaf spirit. Get out of... No, I'm kidding.
Otis, unmute yourself, man.
Otis,
he might be having some...
And that ain't mutual either, bro. Just in case if you want to...
He might be having some internet issues.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Otis, I'm going to kick you out if you need some help. Oh, no, he unmuted. Go ahead.
You hear me?
Kinda.
Yeah, no, I unmuted. Yeah. I was just saying, Albie, I've never seen it translated that way. What was that? What was that you looked up there? Because if the Muslims are saying, where did Jesus say, I am God, worship me, then why haven't we gone to this?
I have been doing this for years. You know what I mean? But so just a quick background. So this is what's called the Peshitta. So it's in my language, Aramaic. All right. And it's a 4th century translation of the New Testament. You with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So this is the Aramaic. Now, where do they come up with I am the living God? The reason why they did that is because they recognized the I am statement there in John 4:26 without predication. The I am statement without predication. They recognized that. And then seeing that there were Greek-speaking Jews that also read the Septuagint, in Isaiah chapter 52, verse 6, if you look at the syntax, it's virtually identical. The one speaking to you, I am.
Interesting. No, I know.
Well, real quickly, hold on. Andrew G., are you a Catholic?
No, I'm actually Orthodox, but I just wanted to talk about what I believe, what I think they're saying. I'm sort of neutral on the whole thing.
All right. So, do you believe that Allah and the God of the Bible are the same God?
Hold on, I'm getting a.
Bro, I can't believe this is such a hard. How do people think about this question? I just don't. I can't understand that. It just does not make sense. It doesn't make sense to me at all, man.
Yeah, so I don't think that they're the same God. I don't think so as an Orthodox. I disagree with them, but I wanted to ask you guys: do you believe that the Jews believe that they have the same God as we do?
No, they don't.
Old Testament Jews, in their ignorance, they also worship the Trinity in type. Modern Talmudic Jews absolutely do not. If you were to read the Talmud, it literally says Jesus is in hell boiling in poop. So no, I don't think they have the same God as me.
Exactly.
Okay. So, because you hold because I guess you say that all the Jews in the Old Testament, they knew about the Trinity, so that's why they don't worship the same.
Yeah, if you're Orthodox, man, go look at any of the earliest icons with Abraham in it. Worshiping God is worshiping the Trinity. Right. If you were to read the Old Testament, Abraham literally says, "And I beheld God, and he looked up and he saw three." Read the writings of Ambrose, read the writings of Augustine. They all state that they worship the Trinity in type.
Exactly, brother. And then in John chapter 15, verse 21, Jesus in the upper room to his 11 disciples the night before his crucifixion says about the Jews, "But all these things they will do to you for my name's sake, because they do not know him who sent me." They don't know the Father. If they don't know the Father, how can they be worshiping the true God?
Okay, so do you believe that someone who's ignorant of the Trinity but knows God the Father does not believe in the same God?
Yeah, if they're ignorant, that's a different thing than somebody who is willfully rejecting them. The issue with Vatican II is it's not referring to individuals; it's Muslims. Period. Referring to the religion. It's not talking about little Susie Q on an island. It's talking about Muslims. Period. The religion, and it actually goes forward after this. The part that we're talking about, it gives some distinctives about Islam, so we know it's talking about the religion. It's not talking about individuals who might be ignorant or anything like that. Muslims, the actual religion, has a actual ecclesiastical statement that says Jesus is not God. We reject the Trinity. So, I mean, that's a part of the religion.
Hey, cleaving to antiquity. You know what's wild to me, man? What's wild is that here they are trying to say that, oh, it's the ignorant Muslims that's it's speaking of. This is the same type of arguments that pro-choice the movement makes. You know, well, what if she was? What if it was her first cousin that did? You're talking about a very minute situation that rarely, you know what I'm saying, compared to the total sum. So I mean, it's ridiculous, you guys. Just run with it.
That's what you have to do when you have a losing position. When you know you're wrong, you have to cling to the kind of outskirt examples. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
What if the baby was actually an alien parasite about to explode her belly? Like an alien, you know? Great point. You got anything else, Andrew? Thanks for coming on, man.
No. I actually, this actually convinced me more. Like, I'm not even Eastern Orthodox either. I'm Oriental, so I'm not even like, I'm kind of a minority, but like I think this convinced me more that I didn't really agree with him to begin with. I guess I wanted some confirmation and I'm from the Middle East anyway, so like the whole thing about the word Allah, like I say it in my church because we speak in Arabic, so like that's why I like you know. But anyway, all right, I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you for coming up, brother.
Thank you.
All right, so I don't have the feature. At best, all I can do is this. Kind of lame.
Frank says, when are you debating the Diamond Brothers? Whenever they want to debate me, man. I'll debate the Diamond Brothers. They made a response video to one of my videos I thought was really funny. They didn't say my name, but they clipped one of my responses, and they were like, "Some YouTube liars and charlatans have been slandering us," or something about a video I did about their fake prophecy about the Vatican getting blown up. Diamond Brothers are sedevacantists.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are something else. But they do deny Vatican II, so at least they don't believe that. At least they don't.
All right, here you go. Diamond Brothers team up with me in a debate against Trent Horn and a couple other guys.
Hey, you guys mind if I quickly say something too, real quick?
Yeah.
I want everybody to also notice the grave mistakes that the Roman Catholic Church continues to make, and it's this: they continue to defend their church over defending the scriptures. They continue to defend their church over the word of God. It doesn't matter what the word of God says. My church says this, therefore. This is idolatry. This is the issue. Stop fighting for your church and start fighting for Christ.
Amen. That's perfect, man. Perfectly said. All right, we're 2 hours deep. So, are there any other Catholics that want to join up? You can feel free to join up, or if you're a Protestant that has a question, you want to ask Cleave to Antiquity a question, I guess I can open it up to Protestants if you guys want to ask a question. And so yeah, so I'll do that. And
let me say
we
one
can start.
more thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. Well, I think this topic, because I've always rejected that Muslims have the same God. In a sense, we all have the same God in the sense that there is only one creator, and it's the Trinity. So Jesus is the God of the Muslims without them knowing it. So in that sense, like, we would all agree there. But I was thinking a lot about this topic. I think the problem with the document of the Pope's document is he says we worship the same God, where if it's about the reference, the Muslims are talking about we're talking about the God of Abraham. So in that sense, the reference point you can say is the same, but the problem I have is the worship aspect, because to worship implies that you know who you're. So I don't want, like,
I wouldn't.
For example, brother Nick Norelli said, in terms of reference point, yes, I would agree. In terms of worship, Nick said, I do not agree whatsoever that they worship, because him and I see it the same way, where we use the Eucharist in our worship and the Muslims don't. Therefore, they're not worshiping God as the Christian.
I wouldn't even say we all agree on that, that they have the same God as us, even in that sense. You can't have God while rejecting him. If you reject the Father, you don't have, or if you reject the Son, you don't have the Father. So I wouldn't say we even agree in that sense.
Jesus is their creator, is what I mean. Like, Allah is not their God. Jesus is the God.
Sure, but it doesn't mean that he is their God, though, because that refers to object of worship.
Yeah, but I'm not using it in this sense as object of worship. I'm talking about the creator. The creator of the Muslims is the same creator as us, and it's Jesus. It's not Allah.
If Vatican II was to say they have the same creator as us, that would be correct. But it doesn't say that. It says they worship the same God. So.
No, I know. That's the problem I have
too. Yeah.
I want to quickly read this quote, and I'm just curious as to how Catholics would respond to this quote. Okay, this is from. Give me 1 second. This is from Pope
Matt and Payne. Are you guys Catholic?
Yeah, I want to.
I've just been
studying up on
Look, this is what I'll do. I'll allow Albie to get the last word in, and then after that, we'll allow Cleve to engage these two Catholics, and then we can wrap up. So, Albie, get the last word in. Otis, is that it, Otis?
Yeah, I'll talk to Albie and you guys when I got better Wi-Fi.
Oh no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk, Otis.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, nice seeing you again, brother. Nice haircut, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so here.
Hold on. Let's allow Albie to get the last word.
So I'm just gonna
go ahead.
Thank you, JP. So I'm just gonna read a couple quotes from the popes back in the day. This is Pope Calixtus III, 1455 to 1458. He says, I will exalt the true faith and root out the diabolical sect of the reprobate and faithless Mahometan of the East. Talking about Mohammedans, Islam. Then it goes on to say this. Watch this. Now, this is another Pope, Pope Urban's second speech at the Council of Clermont in 1095, in which the Pope called for the First Crusade. Now, watch this. Here's what he says. Now, it's in Latin, but I'm going to translate it to English. So it says, this people began from their origin to envy your happiness, to attack the Church of God, a race, as it were, alien to God, an impious race, which has been empowered by the devil and which does not worship the true God, but adores demons. This race has overcome you. Your race, which is especially beloved by God and greater than all others, is subjected to a despised and base race, which does not know God, is without arms, and lacks strength. Let me get a W, Pope.
W, brother, W.
So now I'd like to know, how do the Catholics now respond to these popes over here condemning?
All right. Well, thank you
I
for
don't
that,
think that
Albie.
there's.
Well,
Sure, brother. Thank you.
all right, Payne, do you want to respond to that real quick?
I mean, I don't think Catholics necessarily have an issue per se. I think
All
in
right.
the
Well,
context
then very
of his
good.
response.
So then very good. They don't have an issue. So now, Albie, God bless you, brother. We will chat soon, and Cleve's email is in the private chat, so you should definitely shoot him an email, right, brother Albie? God bless you, brother. I am trying to go to sleep at some point, brother Albie. So
Okay,
God
God
Yeah,
bless
this will
you.
be the last thing, and then I gotta head off to bed.
yeah, these will be the last two, and that's it. All right, who got here first? Technically, I
Matt.
know they both. Oh, Matt did.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
do want to say one thing first. Albie mentioned Ron Rhodes as having this
Well,
great
you're
book.
talking to Cleve now, so the man's
All
not
right.
here. So do we?
All right.
Let's set it up now. Do you
All right.
believe we worship the same God as the Muslims?
Okay.
And by we, I mean do you? Because I don't.
In sense, in reference, believe that there are certain they believe in one God. They believe in one God. However, they don't have. They believe in one God. They believe in that and it says they profess the Abrahamic faith, and so there's a thing where they believe in one God, but of course they don't believe that
Do they believe in the
Would
same
you?
God?
okay. So
Yeah.
however,
Would you use
I
that
do
terminology? Same God.
I do want to say a couple things. Do
Well,
you
hold on
believe
before you do that,
first,
Matt.
I
I'm
want to
sorry.
ask you. I want to ask you. I
Really
want to ask
quick, Matt. One moment, Matt. Just to be clear, would you use the terminology "same God" though for the Muslims? Do they worship the same God? Because that's what
Well,
Pope JP2
in
says in his as he's discussing Nostra Aetate.
in one sense, they worship the same God, but it's now. I want to ask you because all I want to have. I have a few questions for you.
Matt, you're not answering the question. Is it the same God? Yes or no? That's it. It's simple. Yes or no?
You worship this. Do they worship the same God? I can say yes, but they worship it incorrectly.
Okay, thank you. You just answered our question. Thank
Okay,
you,
so
Matt.
now,
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Now
all right.
let's advance the conversation. So, Cleve, you got your answer.
So let me ask you.
Hold on. Matt, wait one moment, Matt. You will get to answer. You will get to ask a question momentarily. Go ahead, Cleve. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Matt, just try to keep it relatively short because I want to get to bed. I don't want to sit and listen to like a 5-minute thing. If you could just ask me what the question is, and we can go in there. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Thank you for coming on.
Go in a few minutes. Okay. Justin Martyr, in his dialogue with Trifo, he's you did say that Jews after Christ,
yeah,
they do not worship the same God. Is that correct?
I can actually answer your question before you ask it because I know where you're going with this. In a dialogue with Trifo, there was not yet an ecclesiastical rejection of Jesus Christ's divinity for the Jews. You don't have that until the Talmud. The Talmud came around, the Babylonian Talmud, when it's actually finalized, was actually late 4th century. The dialogue with Trifo was before that time. So he's speaking to them in an evangelistic sense. So in reference to him saying in some sense that they are seeking the one true God, they're mistaken about it. He's speaking about it from an evangelistic standpoint. He's not saying that if they willfully reject Christ after this conversation, that they somehow are still worshiping the same God. Does that make sense?
So 100. So this is about 120 years after Christ had died,
sure.
And after 120 years after Christ has died, Justin Martyr said,
yeah, same God. Yeah, I know.
That there is one God for. Well, you gotta let me. Okay, for one another for you, but that He alone is God, who led your fathers out from Egypt with a strong hand and a high arm. Nor have we trusted in any others, for there's no other, but in Him whom you all trusted, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob. Dialogue with 11. So,
like I already said, Matt,
100 years. So 100 years after, he's saying it's you know that
Here, let me
Justin
answer
Martyr
your
claimed.
objection, because this has taken a while to get out. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Justin Martyr says something similar, like the same God or whatever, in his dialogue with Trypho the Jew, but he's saying this in an evangelistic sense. What I'm saying when we're pushing back against the claims of Vatican II is that they're saying the entire religion, all of the Muslims, worship the same God. After that religion has an actual ecclesiastical statement that says they reject the Trinity, they reject Jesus Christ's divinity. At the time of the dialogue of Trypho, and there's plenty of people throughout history that have gotten this wrong. So I would grant to you that you could probably find a citation in the 1500s of some random person, even maybe doctors of the church, making statements that are similar. What I would say to you is just simply this. If you're referring to the religion as a whole, okay? If you're referring to the religion as a whole, the Jews at the time did not have an official ecclesiastical statement that said that Jesus Christ was not God. He's trying to evangelize to them in that moment. So that would answer that objection. Do you have anything else that you would like to bring up, Matt?
I have quotes from Saint Augustine,
and I would grant every single one of them. It doesn't matter. Individual statements literally mean nothing. People can have disagreements on this particular topic.
Okay. Well,
I've got tons of church father citations that say the exact opposite. You want to go church father to church father?
Well, I'd like to have actually a dialogue with you on the Deuterochronicals, which would be a totally different issue, because I totally disagree with on that. But
all right, so Matt, how about this, brother Matt? You could, brother Cleve has a number of open panels all the time. If you're interested, I put Cleve's email there. Maybe send him an email so you guys can get that conversation going about the Deuterocanonicals.
I'm gonna ask you, have you talked with since 33 AD?
Yeah.
You know who
we've done a number of debates. Go look at my live call-in streams. He's called in a couple of times. We've also done 2 back and forth videos. I've debated with him back and forth.
Right.
So I mean, I tell him he's welcome to call in whenever, no big deal.
Right. Okay. Okay, but you
All
gotta
right.
go. All right.
Well, brother, there's the email. It's in the private chat. Thank you for bringing your argument. Payne, you just left. Payne, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes, Payne, to come in. If you don't come in 2 minutes, Payne, we're going to have to move on. So we'll give you two minutes. I'm going to be here for 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yep.
We're already at 2 hours and 26 minutes. So, Payne, you better hurry it up. In the 2 hour.
This is the thing with that line of reasoning, man. If anybody can bring up any citation from church fathers, even people after the time of the Babylonian Talmud being formalized and finalized, or whatever the case may be, you can bring up citations from people in the 1500s that say Muslims have the same God or whatever. The thing is, they're extremely inconsistent in the way that they use that term, because if you read the other writings, they'll say, well, actually, no, they worship the devil. Actually, no, their God is the devil, or whatever the case may be. So most of the time, people are taking these things out of context. In the case of Justin Martyr, though, we're talking about this is literally a text on evangelization. He's trying to tell these Jews that have a mistaken view on who Jesus is, a mistaken view about Christianity, and he's correcting their misconceptions. He's literally teaching them about the Eucharist. He's teaching them very basic stuff in his apologies and in his dialogue with Trypho. So it's not as if he's speaking to a people who have a formalized ecclesiastical rejection. So that would be the sticking point. It's not necessarily willful rejection on part of the entire religion yet, because that's what we're referring to, entire religion. You might be able to say the individual guy he's talking to rejects it, but we're talking about the entire religion. If there's no ecclesiastical statement, then we can't be talking about the religion.
Amen. All right. So real quick, let me address this, and I guess we could wrap up. JP,
Sure.
Are you going to debate Joe Heschmeyer? Well, here's a fun fact. I'm going through SFT. SFT is currently trying to find me a 2-on-2 debate on this particular topic with HHS and I. If he happens to reach out to Joe Heschmeyer, then he reaches out to Joe Heschmeyer. If not, then no. But I'll tell you this much. I'll do Joe Heschmeyer how I did Sam Shamoun. And I mean that very well, because those aggressive tactics don't work with me. You know what I'm saying? I'll get just as tough. So I'll leave it there. I think that we can't fall prey. So when somebody gets aggressive, we got to meet that energy. And if Joe Heschmeyer wants something to do with me, well, then he knows where to find me. How about you, Cleve? You planning on debating that guy?
I actually had I sent him a debate offer to Joe Heschmeyer. Capturing Christianity, Cameron Bertuzzi sent me a request to debate Joe. Problem with that was they sent a request to one of my friends, and they were trying to set up the debate premise in a real slimy type of way. They were like, "Oh, you have to debate the 66 book canon. We're going to do a canon debate, but you can't push back on my position," was the premise. They said, you can't push back on the Roman Catholic position. You only have to defend your position. So I get to attack you, and you don't get to say anything about what I believe, which is ridiculous. So I said, dude, to cut through all the tape, if you want to debate me, just call into the show, or I can find a neutral moderator or something. So it's out there. I'm not rejecting debating with him. That particular premise, though, is garbage. Show the receipts, Cleve. Look at Cameron Bertuzzi's post in which he asks if I'm interested in the debate. Look in the comments there. You can see a back and forth conversation between us two.
Yeah. And Moderator X, you can tell Cameron if he wants to smoke with me, any of these guys can get it. They know where to find me. I believe that the truth is on my side. We have the scriptures, we have these things. And I'm willing to debate these guys on Intercession of the Saints with their own books. I mean, I'm a 66 book canon guy, but I'm willing to grant the 73 book canon because Intercession of the Saints isn't taught there either. So I that's how I feel. If you want maybe a 2-on-2, Cleve, on Intercession of the Saints or this topic, you and I against Joe Heschmeyer and the debater of their choice. Any of these
Let me just say this, because they were asking about, I guess, receipts on this. Look at, there you go. Somebody just said it in the comments. Anthony Rogers, who's been on my channel before, they gave him the same debate offer. And when he asked if he could push back on the Apocrypha, they canceled the debate. They did the same thing with Javier Perdomo. Javier was offered a debate with Joe Heschmeyer on the same topic. Because originally what happened was they were like, okay, do you want to debate Cleve or do you want to debate Javier? They said, no, we don't want to do Cleve. We'll go with Javier. So they approached him first. And it was a 66 book canon debate. He says, can I bring up the Apocrypha? They say no. They stop responding to him. They make that big post on the page there. They end up reaching out to Anthony Rogers. They do the exact same thing with him. He says, can I push back on the 73 book canon? Can I push back on the Apocrypha? They say, no, you just have to defend the 66. That's basically like saying, can you defend Christianity, but you're just not allowed to bring up Jesus Christ? It doesn't make any sense. That's a nonsense debate offer. That's the same thing. If you notice what they tried to do with Jay Dyer, when Jay Dyer said, can I bring up magisterial contradictions? What did Cameron Bertuzzi do? He stepped in and said, oh, that's not the topic of the debate. That's not the topic of the debate. They're trying to railroad you into nonsense land. You can't bring up anything that's a defeater for their system. So I don't mind. I would debate Joe Heschmeyer, but the premise has got to not be nonsense, and it's got to be somewhere with a non-biased moderator.
Well, brother, to be honest with you, they never want a fair fight. That's what I've realized. Shout out to this guy Trent Horn. He is fair. There are Catholics out there that are fair. Joe Heschmeyer doesn't give me that vibe. Sam Shamoun doesn't give me that vibe. Capturing Christianity doesn't give me that vibe. Trent doesn't give me that vibe. A lot of these guys do not give me that vibe. They're very, very slimy. I mean, the fact that they would even ask you that question, hey, let's talk about the 66. I attack your position, but you can't attack mine. Very slimy individuals.
Yeah, I actually agree with Frank. He is a lawyer, so he is going to try to come up with the best premise that will make him look the best and be able to get the most rhetoric out. If he can stop you through technicalities from bringing up points that are defeaters for his position, he's going to set that up in the prep. So when you get debate offers from guys like that, you have to be careful with what debate premise you accept. right? So it's not that I don't want to debate him. I would love to I'll debate Joe any day. He wants to call into my show, we could debate. He wants to go on a show with somebody else that is a normal, non-biased moderator. I would love to do that. But there are other Roman Catholic apologists that have given me debate offers that I might take them up on. I know Voice of Reason said he's interested in a debate, so I might reach out and try to set something up there. I would love to do something with Trent Horn. I'm going to call out Sam Shamoun soon and see if he'll do a Vatican II thing. But I agree with you, JP. I think he's going to run. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm open to debate. I will literally debate anybody. I don't care. Just got to be the right premise.
I actually have Voice of Reason's number. I met the guy in person not too long ago. And he said he was willing to have a conversation on intercession of the saints. This was around the time when Sam Shamoun was attacking him. Very friendly and nice guy. That is another guy that is a fair guy. Voice of Reasons is a fair guy. He's not a slime ball. But the other guys I mentioned, they're very slimy individuals, and it just is what it is. Very slimy individuals. So,
hey, if you know Voice of Reason, ask him if he wants to debate on Vatican II Nostratate. I can get a larger channel and ask some of my buddies. Maybe I don't want to use their names and then they say no, but I can ask people with hundreds of thousands of subs if they want to host.
He's actually good friends, and I have a very close relationship with Ruslan, so I'll mention Ruslan's name every day. In fact, I made a little joke with Ruslan, and it's not a joke; it's actually serious. Whenever Christians come up to me and try to do small talk, whether they know me from YouTube or not, I always say, "Hey, do you know Ruslan?" And then they say, "Yeah, I do." I go, "Yeah, I know him too. That's my guy." And then I just walk off. That's my interactions with Christians. But Ruslan actually has a very good relationship with Voice of Reasons. Very good. In fact, shout out to Ruslan. Ruslan was the one that was trying to set up a debate with Voice of Reasons and before I met him. And then when I met Voice of Reasons, we actually got along very well. One of my friends gave him a hat. We got on video together. We were chilling. Very nice, sweet person. So if anything, you should reach out to Ruslan, because him and Ruslan are excellent friends. And Voice of Reasons is a fair man. He is a fair man. Now, I don't think he'll take – now, I could be wrong. I don't know if he'll take that premise, because that is a very hard premise to defend. But I don't think that if given the opportunity, I don't know. It's 50-50 because that's a suicidal premise. You feel me?
Yeah, nobody can defend it. But I don't know. I'll reach out and see if anybody bites. I would like to debate the Vatican II premise. Do Muslims worship the same God? One guy I will not debate on that topic. I will not debate that Trent guy from that Jay Dyer debate. That guy was nuts.
You would have a better chance if you decided to debate him on something like intercession of the saints. Like it would be more of a chance. That Vatican II nonsense, man, that's a hard one, bro. Like
that's the hot topic right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask. It doesn't hurt to ask, but I just don't. I mean, unless
I hear what you're saying.
If Voice of Reasons feels led to do a suicide mission, then let him do it. It's not that he's not a good debater. It's just that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So
how about? This guy says, how about which canon is true, Protestants or Catholic, as a premise? I pitched that. They said no. So that's actually Javier Perdomo pitched that first. They said no, and they stopped responding to him. The same thing that Anthony Rogers said, who's awesome. If you don't know who Anthony Rogers is, check out his channel. He's very, very good. But they gave him the same thing, and he said, well, why don't we just do Protestant canon versus Roman Catholic canon debate? They said no way, and they stopped responding to him. So what they're wanting is somebody to defend the 66 canon, but not bring up the Roman Catholic canon at all, is what I'm saying. So nothing against Joe. I don't know Joe like that, so I don't want to say anything against him, but the setup is a little slimy.
It's a slimy setup, man. It is what it is. I don't trust these guys. They're not trustworthy. I mean, you're looking at a group of guys like Capturing Christianity, Sam Shamoun, all of these guys. they're not trustworthy individuals. They're not. But yeah, man. We're gonna be coming back together July 3rd. July 3rd, which is gonna be in. Let's see. Let me pull up my calendar here. July 3rd. That'll be next Thursday. So if God permits, I'm gonna really be going into my studies. So I might not stream before then anyways. But if I do stream before then see you guys earlier. But if not, that might actually be my next stream. And then the next stream after that will be Sunday. Now there's a couple of Muslims that emailed me. So I might do something like that. And then my next stream will be on Thursday with you. So because I can't stream like this every day. I gotta hit the studying, get in the flashcards and all these things, man. You know, got my notes here, my little book, my little my little notes here, getting I'm back in school.
Got to get your study on, man.
Yes, sir. But it sucks because everything's going viral on YouTube right now. This is a very hot topic. I would go live every day if I could. If I'm gonna be honest, I would go every single day, you know. But you know, there's that. All right. Somebody said, how about William Albrecht? I have a relationship with William Albrecht, believe it or not. I have a personal relationship. We actually talk behind cameras. If you're interested in something with him, I can pitch that and I can tell him if you're interested in William Albrecht.
If Albrecht wants to debate Vatican II with me, I'll debate Vatican II. If he wants to do it on a neutral platform, like, I don't know, Ruslan, RZ's channel, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, so send me something written, and I'm a screenshot what you tell me. I'll send it to him, and then I'll be like, hey, this guy, Cleave to Antiquity, he's been making the rounds. He told me to send you this, and I'll send it to him, and I'll tell you what he says.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I'm going to hop off. I need to get some sleep.
All right, man. If before you go to sleep, send me that text.
Oh, well. All right. God bless.
All right. See you, brother. God bless. All right. So that's a good conversation there we had. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What looks better? This or this? What looks better? Type a 1 for this right here. Type a 1 for this. This is going to be the number 1. Type a 2 for this. So what looks better? Number 1 or number 2? Oh, I'm sorry, fellas. I'm sorry, fellas. Oh yeah, somebody said do a poll, but I mean number 2 is clearly the winner. It's clearly the winner. But I'll do the poll anyways. Okay, give me a second. Man, that looks so bummy, man. I gotta really get a haircut. Nothing against bums, you know. Shout out to all the bums in the world, you know, they live a hard life. Gotta be humble, you know. All right, light 2. All right, so that's the poll. So the poll's gonna be, dang it. All right, so light number 1 is this right here. This is light number 1. Yes, sir. We're hitting the gym, we're working out, you know, we're working on it, you know. And this is a light number 2. So, all right, so there you have it. This is the light number 2. This is light number 1. Light number 2. Light number 1. Light number 2. Y'all get the point. Definitely not this, you know, like this is ugly, but you know. All right, let's see. Let's see what the responses are here. All right, light number 2 wins. Light number 2 wins. All right, well, God bless you all. I'm out of here. Gonna get a little bit of studying done, and then I'll be going to sleep. Tomorrow's gonna be a full study day. Tomorrow I'll be studying from from the morning till maybe the nighttime. Who knows? I'll be studying a lot. So I got to deal with something evangelistic right now. Well, not evangelistic. It's a brother in need. Okay, not in need in the sense like he's like asking for money, but I got to do something. There we go. Got it. Mr. No. Ministry work. There we go. There we go. Perfect. There we go. I got it. I have to do some ministry work. So, got to do some ministry stuff. Give a little bit of counseling. You feel me? A little bit of that stuff. You got to do that in the side sometimes. Give back to some people. If you're on Discord, you could always reach out to me on Discord if you want to have a conversation. Although I must say there's a Mormon and a Muslim that have requested to talk to me privately. I have to get back to them. I do. I really do. But there are individuals that reach out to me and I give them a little bit of counseling. I talk to them. Not that I'm perfect or anything like that, but this is my Discord right here. We do have a Christian community there. If you have questions, you need prayer, you need fellowship. We don't do much voice Discord calls. We talk a lot in the chat. So we do a lot of talking on the chat. We chill with each other. We make jokes. We put memes. We do all kinds of stuff. Shout out to my brother. Where's this guy at? Shout out to this brother right here. He is the heartbeat of the Discord. This brother right here, he is the heartbeat of the Discord. And then shout out to my other brother. Where's my other brother? Facts Only. He's not here right now, but he is also the heart of the Discord. So these brothers be on it, and they really give it life. Just go to the general chat. We talk about everything. We were talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 the other day. We just be in there, you know what I'm saying? So we're just a community there. We talk, we chat, we just hang out in there. We're there. So, write something on the chat at any time. Somebody will respond. Again, we don't do much voice calls. We do more so in the chat. So just go to general chat, talk to us. We ask questions, we give answers. And if you need a personal conversation with me, I do have a Muslim and a Mormon that are ahead of the line. And there is a sister that has reached out who wants to talk to me about intercession of the saints. So we do have a bit of a line, but, that's only 3. And I lost track of the sister. So I lost track of her. So, technically 2. But yeah, if you guys want to talk to me, you guys can. Shout out to this brother right here. I know him in real life. Your main empire. Shout out to this sister right here. Shout out to Albie as well. Shout out to Albie. I can't say no more than that. But shout out to this sister right here. And shout out to Albie. And I'll leave it there. Can't say no more than that. And Soul Cry. Yes, sir. I went there, brother. All right. So God bless you, man. Time to rest. Little Light. I don't know if you're on my Discord, brother, but you're welcome, my brother. You're welcome. I don't know if I should study a little bit and then, but man, life is packed, fellas. Life is packed. The relationship, marriage, working on those details, and then school, and then 2 jobs, potentially 3 jobs. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I live in New York, man. But, and YouTube and then school. So, but fellas, we out here, man. We're making it through. I'm not perfect. Please keep me in prayer, but not like Sam Shamoun. What I mean by not like Sam Shamoun is that Sam Shamoun always tells people to keep him in prayer, but he doesn't change. He does the same thing. So fellas, keep me in prayer so that I legitimately change and show fruit of changing, because I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination at all. I'm not. I have struggles. I battle demons. How y'all battle demons? So keep me in prayer so that God can truly change my heart for the better, because I'm not perfect at all. And I don't mean it in a Sam Shamoun way. Oh, pray for me. Holy Spirit and Mary and all these things. And then he's calling people's moms horse this. And well, he called me a pile of horse, SHIT, the other day. But regardless of whether that or not, just pray that God truly changed my heart. I gave you a shout out, Facts Only. I gave you a shout out. So this brother right here, he'd be cooking on the 2nd. This is the after show man. Even though I'm trying to incorporate him on the main channel, this is the after show man right here. right here. It's facts only. This is the after show, man. And he pretty much runs the Discord. Very funny how I met this brother. The brother came on the platform, and he came on the platform, and I saw him going in on the heretics, and I said, brother, you know, I'm gonna make you a mod. You the guy. I said, you the guy, man, going forward. So that brother has been holding it down ever since. He stepped up to the plate, and I'm always looking for brothers to promote, uplift. Shout out to Humble Servant. Shout out to Christian King. I also found those brothers. Well, they actually found me. But I saw the potential in those brothers. I found the potential. Same thing with Facts Only and a couple of other brothers. I say, yo, man, same thing with Nate, even though Nate is in school and I can't really promote him as much. But once he's out of school, I will be promoting Nate. But there are some brothers, that I see potential in them. I said, brother, you're next up. I want to hold you down. And, now Otis says he's a mod in the second channel, but not this one. I could make you a mod here. I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue, but I'm not going to do it now because I would have to go to YouTube and all those things. So, yeah. So once again, if you guys are interested, this is going to be the Discord. Just click the link and you'll be sent right there. I'll be in the chats for a little bit and then we'll just go to sleep. All right. So, yeah, man. Blessings. And I'm out of here, man. And, God bless you guys, man. I'm really proud of the team we've assembled. I really am. And the way this platform has been growing and all these things, I wish I could put more time to this. I really do wish that. I wish I could put more time in Ghost Stream because I really do believe that this is the sister here, Now, I would love to see you and your significant other. Now, I'm not going to say who that significant other is. I got to keep that private. But I would love to see you and your significant other, not for fishing, but there's a Harold's Chicken down in Chicago that I went to the last time I was there. I went to Partillo's, I think it was, and I went to the hot dog. Yeah, Partillo's is the hot dog spot. But I went to Lucia's, like something Lucia or something like that. And I got some deep dish pizza. Like an idiot, I got 2 deep dish pizzas, and all of the native Chicago friends that I had, they said, JP, don't do that. Deep dish pizza. I always curse when I say deep dish because I end up saying deep SHIT by accident. It always slips. But deep dish pizza, okay, is so thick and big that, I couldn't even finish a pie. I couldn't even do it. It was like 3 of us. We couldn't even finish it. Debate Matt or set up something for the brother. He knows his stuff as much as I don't know who Matt is. Matt, brother Matt. I actually like Matt, believe it or not. And we don't really disagree on much when he explains things a particular way. I can find Matt a debate opponent, but I wouldn't debate Matt. I actually like Matt a lot. Believe it or not. As a matter of fact, he's there. Matt, would you like me to find you a debate opponent for the topic of your choice? I could find somebody for you.
Well, I think Sola Fide would be great. But I brought that up, but that's not a thing that you're.
Well, no, I'm saying somebody like a one-on-one. So you're saying Sola Fide, like faith alone kind of thing?
Yeah. That was one.
That's a tough one because a lot of Protestants agree with you, bro. That's the problem.
Nate doesn't. How about Nate? Nate, right. He thinks we're not. He thinks we're not Christians.
All right. So well, brother. I mean, a lot of people don't think you're Christians, but it's not based on that. So how about this? Send me an email. I'll reach out to Nate.
Yeah, you know what? Because I remember talking to you, and you said it sort of real quickly, and I never emailed you because I didn't quite get what it was.
Yeah, the email's in the private chat. I'm gonna move you backstage.
Yeah,
the email's in the. Yeah, send me an email on what you want to debate. I'll reach out to Nate. No problem. All right. So we'll get Matt at debate. I'll get Matt at debate. No problem. So I'll reach out to brother Nate, and we'll get something set up. All right, Harold's Chicken is mid. We will make sure. No, I don't agree. I actually really like Harold's Chicken. My brother hopes wants to debate you on intercession of the saints, but I'm not a debater. Oh man. Now, I wish your friend Hope would have found me a month and a half or 2 months ago. Right now, I'm really focused on the same God thing. Maybe I'll come back to intercession of the saints, but right now I'm kind of past that. But I'd be more than happy to host an open platform on it. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you, Otis. I've moved on. I will not be doing any intercession of the saints open panels anytime soon. It's all gonna be this particular topic. So I'm not gonna even lie to you, Otis. But if it ever does happen, I'll send you a text message. I promise. But I'll be honest with you. This is a very hot topic. Very hot topic. So it's going to be very tough to not you, Otis. I'm talking about your friend who wants to debate me. Unfortunately, as I stated already, it's just I think I've moved on from that topic for now. This is the hot topic, the same God thing. That's the hot topic. But yeah, if you want, I'll let you know if I ever do intercession of the saints again as a personal favor to you. And maybe I'll do an open panel. I know, Otis. I know he wants to debate me. What I'm saying is I will let you know when I do an open panel and you can let him know. I know. Intercession of the saints, that's what I'm saying. It's retired. This is the new thing. But because I know Otis, if Otis wants a personal favor, I maybe I could do something on the second channel, but I really am focused on Now this brother said you got to leave these Catholics alone, man. Absolutely not. I will not leave them alone. In fact, we're only getting started. This is only the beginning, my friend. So either you unsubscribe or you get ready for the ride, my brother. Let's see, brother Matt. Brother Matt's just sent me a message. But Brother Matt, I need you to email me. Because if you don't email me, hold on. All right, Matt, you still haven't emailed me. You need to email me, brother. All right. Hope wants Otis to debate you. Oh, I see. So what Otis is saying is that Hope wants Otis to debate me, not that Hope wants to debate me. Okay, got it. Understood. Okay. I thought you were saying Hope wants to debate me. Okay, understood. Got it. All right, understood. No, Otis, I will not debate you. Although I must say Otis does make the very good arguments because this man be thinking outside the box. So Otis be coming up with things that aren't on the internet. Like Otis will say, hey, JP, look at this text right here. And then I look it up on the internet and nobody sees the text how Otis sees it. And I'm like, well, dang, now I got to deal with this. There was an argument Otis gave me. It took me like 5 days to respond. It took me like 5 days. So Otis does make decent arguments. I got to give him that. I got to give him that. But, again, I'm intercession of the saint out. This is the big topic here. Because if you have another God, I mean, come on now. Feel me? That's the problem. Shout out to Bolt for Christ as well. This brother be putting in work as well. Shout out to this brother right here. He totally changed his image. He made a new account. He said, let me brand. Made his new account, Bolt for Christ. Very good account. I enjoy watching this brother. So shout out to these brothers as well, man. These brothers they be putting in work. Brother for Bold for Christ, he be putting in work. And I might be Bold for Christ part 2. I might go bold myself pretty soon. Just and just I love the baldy. Like I said before, I love having a bald head. I love it. It's just the problem of maintaining a bald head. That's the main problem. Let me show you guys a picture of me with a bald head. I love it. I really do love having a bald head. I love it. It's just the maintenance, man. It's terrible. Let me show y'all a picture of me being bald. I surely do have it. Where the heck is my bald head pictures? Give me 1 second, and I will show you guys me being bald. As you guys can see, this is me with some hair here. That's some hair that's not completely bald, but let me show you guys completely bald. I want to show y'all me bald. Give me 1 second. Dang it. Where's the bald head? Here. Give me 1 second. Dang, man, I haven't taken a picture being bald. Oh, yes. Here we go. Let me show y'all a picture of me being bald. Now, the shirt is a little wrinkly. Dang it. Dang. What is going on here? Now, the shirt is a little wrinkly, but I love being bald. Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. Shirt is wrinkly, but I love being bald, man. I love it. Man, being bald is such a blessing, man. It really is. Let me show you another picture of bald JP right here. Bald. You see your boy is bald? Let me see what else I can find. Bald JP. Let's see here. And that's about it, really. Yeah, well, you guys get the point. Dang, I was really fat in this picture here. But yeah, you guys get the point. Yeah. You guys get the point, you know. You guys get the point. I love being bald, fellas, but eventually my hair ends up growing like this, and then I have to end up shaving it bald again. And then a week later, I gotta shave it bald again. And then a week later, I gotta shave it bald again. And then I gotta go bald again, and then bald again, and then bald again. I'm not about that life. So I'm gonna get a hair transplant in a few years. So I was saying earlier, get a few hair transplants and then just grow it out, man, and just leave it there. And I don't have to get the baldy every week, man. You know. Now the problem is that now I'm getting a couple of gray hairs. And so now that's a problem because I know people that color their black hair, and that's like something you got to do all the time as well. So it's like you can't win. I wish there were a way I could be bald forever, just bald, and then I don't have to do nothing. I'm just bald forever. You know, they actually have. Well, I guess I'm not gonna get any studying done today, man. I might just do a couple of reviews, so I'll just chill. But anyways, I might actually, believe it or not, go to Dominican Republic to get the hair transplant. And the reason I might go to Dominican Republic is because they have Turkey employees in Dominican Republic. I hate airplanes. I really do. Airplanes, I really hate airplanes. So I might go to Dominican Republic. That's only like 2 hours. And they have some Turkey people over there, and they'll do the hair transplant nice and easy. I won't have to fly to Turkey because from New York City to Turkey, we're looking at, let's see, NYC to Turkey flight. I'll tell you right now. To get to Turkey, we're looking at 12 hours. We're looking at 9 to 12 hours to get to Turkey. That ain't happening. The most I'll do on an airplane is 4 to 5 hours. That's the most. DR is 3 hours. So I definitely will not go to Turkey. That's too far. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'll never be a big time evangelist. That's one of the reasons, because I hate airplanes. So I'm not gonna go to Australia. I'm not going to go to the Philippines. I'm not going to go to Israel. I'm not going to go anywhere. Okay? I'm not going anywhere because those require long airplane rides. And I hate airplanes. You know, if there's one way I don't want to die, it's airplanes. Every time I see an airplane crash or something like that and somebody dies, um, that's my biggest nightmare. I'd rather get shot than die in an airplane crash. I hate airplanes. I don't like them. I just hate them. And I went to Dominican Republic recently, and when I went to Dominican Republic, you know what ended up happening when I went to the freaking airplane kept just going like this in the air. Like everything was cool. It was just going like that. It was going up, and I'm like, bro, what the hell's going on here? Like, get this under control. Like the plane was just going like this in the air, just going like that. While it was going up, it was just going like this. I'm like, bro, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you on? Like, why is the airplane going like this? Like, that ain't cool. You know? Like, that ain't cool. So yeah. You know, when I went to Texas, the airplane ride was smooth. I went to California to go see Ruslan's event, you know, which Ruslan sponsored me. You know, Ruslan sponsored me. So, you know, now somebody said it must have been a Protestant pilot. That's hilarious. You know, well, if it was a Catholic pilot, we'd all be dead because he would pray to the saints instead of God. Just kidding, man. Just kidding. You know, quite frankly, man, I would rather have a Catholic pilot than an atheist. Because if an atheist has a bad day, there's no God to hold them accountable. Definitely wouldn't want a, you know, I prefer a Christian pilot, you know, if that's my preference. You know, obviously there are certain religions that I do not want flying my airplane. I'm not going to say what religions those are. There's copyright things and all that, but you guys could put two and two together, you know. There's certain religions I would not want to fly my airplane. All right. And we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. All right. But yeah, man, turbulence, man, it's just that's the devil, bro. Turbulence. I really do hate it, you know? So, you know, that for me is it, you know, regarding airplanes and all that. You know, and that's why I won't go to you know, another country or something like that. I go to Dominican Republic, I go to Puerto Rico. Like my lady says that when we get married, she wants to go to Bali. Uh to get from New York to Bali, we're looking at, let's see, NYC to Bali. We're looking at close to 17 hours in the air. Now you have got me effed up if you think, and by effed I mean freaked up. If you think I'm gonna be on an airplane for 17 hours. For 17 hours. Bali can stay where it's at. Bali don't need me. 17 hours. You know what they need to really create? They need to create a teleportation machine. That's what they really need to create. A teleportation machine. If they can create a teleportation machine, I will be all over the world. Promise you guys. Of course, you would have to make teleportation machines double the price of airplanes, because then the airplane business will go out of business. You feel me? So that's why they don't want to technically create teleportation devices, because airplanes will lose their business. Millions of people will lose their jobs. We pretty much don't have nothing at that point. And teleportation machines can really be a risk to safety, because you know you're looking at a couple of Talibans who probably hate America, they go through a little teleportation machine. You know, we're done. I mean, when people when Israel has beef with the Taliban's, it typically doesn't scare me because a bomb from Pakistan cannot reach America. That is a fact. If you look it up, it cannot reach. So I'll show you guys. Can a bomb from Iran reach NYC? Now I want you guys to check this out. Let me just use ChatGPT for this one, you know? Let's just use ChatGPT because ChatGPT is good bread with this. Now I want you guys to check this out. All right? Check this out. Now, check this out. A missile from Iran cannot reach New York City. It cannot. Impossible. So we are safe in that regard. But what if they create teleportation machines? What if they do that? Well, then we're screwed. Just send a couple of missiles through the teleportation machine, and we're finished. So yeah, that's my theory on why they will not make teleportation machines. Okay, that is my theory. Brother, you're gonna have to go back a couple of. Jacob, are you the one I'm supposed to talk to personally? Is this the Mormon I'm supposed to talk to personally? There is a Mormon I'm supposed to talk to personally. He requested a private conversation. I don't know if this is that Mormon. I don't know if it's that Mormon. But all right, that's not him. That's not him. All right, I gotta reach out to a Muslim guy and a Mormon guy. They requested some private conversations. But yeah, fellas, that's in short why I hate airplanes and why teleportation machines will not work. Okay, I just wanted to make those things clear. Now you guys see what goes through my mind. You guys got a taste of the real JP, not talking about theology. And I can rant about these things for hours. I mean, you put me on if I make another YouTube channel, I'll just rant for hours. I'll just rant, go into all these things. Before you know it, I'm the biggest conspiracy theorist in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Because for real, I really be thinking about these things, man. I really do. Turbulence, all these things, man, is just interesting. But how we went from hair transplants to teleportation machines, how did we get there? Oh, because I hate airplanes. But all right, I'm gonna have to really edit this on chapters because I don't want people to come on here and you know, they click this and then they go, oh snap, JP. I thought this was about Christians and Muslims having the same God, not teleportation machines. So I'm gonna have to edit this. All right. Matt, I hope you sent me an email, brother. All right, you did. You did. All right. So yeah. This brother said if airplanes don't exist, then I don't have a job. Well, I hate airplanes. But you know what I hate more than airplanes? Boats. If you think turbulence is bad in the air, get yourself in a boat and you're gonna really see how terrible turbulence is. That's why I'll never go on a cruise ship. And I hate airplanes, but I really hate ships. I mean, especially after seeing the Titanic. But let's not get into these conversations, okay? Because that's another rabbit hole. See, I don't want to talk about ships right now. You know, I really don't. So let me get out of here before I start ranting about ships and waters and the Titanic and you know now. And then you know what? Then we're gonna start talking about submarines, the Titan. Y'all heard what happened with the Titan? The Titan went down and imploded. You know, and I personally believe that if you get in a submarine just for the fun of it, you're playing with your life. There's absolutely no reason to go underwater. You see, we just went from airplanes to ships, and now we're talking about submarines. There's really no reason to go in a submarine, you know. But with that said, I'm gonna exit. We're finished. No more. God bless you all. Stay away from submarines, geniuses. Stay away.